It's another elimination game here at the Hearthstone Global Games. It's going to be Netherlands versus Poland. One of these teams can potentially qualify, but the other one will be just taken out of the competition if they lose. So it is do or die for both of these sides. My name is Dan Gaskin, and I'm joined by Lorinda, as usual. Do you have a favourite, Netherlands and Poland? I know neither of these are your caster picks, are they?
No.
No.
But there are other people's caster picks. In fact, Production have just taken Dan away from us as they're his pick for Netherlands.
I don't know where he's
Production have picked Poland. I fear for him should that go wrong.
I do indeed. Now, we did highlight this as our match of the week, and we got you all on Twitch chat to vote for the match yesterday on the community show, and you decided that the Netherlands were heavy favourites here against Poland, and it's hard to deny that. I mean, you look at the Netherlands squad, and there is some pretty notable players in there.
But we heard A8 a couple of weeks ago being interviewed, and they put a lot of time into this of Poland. So, can look through this team, and it's definitely stronger than you'd expect. Netherlands not having particularly amazing years across the board in terms of HCT. So, I picked on the Netherlands a bit. They are an incredibly powerful side, but I do want to admit, sort of put forward that they're doing well on ladder, they're doing well here and there, they're doing well on streams, but they're not doing amazingly in tournaments. I mean, Ty's made a top 4, Tyler's always there or thereabouts, the top end of the Swiss, but not getting it done, and they're going to need to get it done here today, otherwise A8, who has already booked his ticket to Worlds, will definitely help Poland get over the line here.
Yeah, and having a player like A8 is going to be a massive boost for the Poland side, who have impressed us this year in the Global Games, I have to say, and even last year in the Global Games. I think they surprised us as well with some of their matchups. So I am really excited for this one, especially because it's crunch time. And yes, we are actually in Poland. We're in Katowice.
Just down the road from that building, in fact.
Are we?
Yeah.
Have you been to that building?
I mean, I have actually left the hotel room, Dan.
Are you saying I haven't?
Dan got out the other day, goes, hey, I didn't know Katowice had things.
I did go and explore for the very first time. But Netherlands and Poland, let's have a look at the bans and see what was taken away from both sides and what they ended up with in the end. Netherlands decided to get rid of get rid of the Rogue, and Poland got rid of Netherlands Warrior.
And it is only the first ban that really seems to hone the draft. I think we decided over time. It's the one bit of major control you have over it. After that, you try and scramble to pick up your 2 picks that would have lost to that ban a lot of the time, and you try and repeat the process, but as it goes down that list, it gets less and less influential on the outcome of the match.
And it's both of the control decks that were banned away as well. Odd Warrior taken from the Netherlands, and it was the Quest Rogue taken away from Poland. I mean, it usually is just, you kind of get an idea of what the decks are going to be played to follow thereafter. But I think Poland will be pretty happy with the ban phase. To be fair, both teams will be fairly happy with the ban phase. I'd say that throughout these, 6 weeks has it been now? Most teams have got their ban phase down to a T.
Yeah.
It just is coming into this pick phase where it starts to get scary. We will take a look at that next and see what matchups are going to be on your screen.
This will teach us, won't it?
For what?
Well, for baiting chat a couple of weeks ago.
About this.
That there was going to be a Quest Warrior versus Control Mage match. This actually is entirely our own fault.
It is our fault, indeed. But first up, we'll get something a little bit quicker, because it's going to be the Token Druid versus the Aggro Mage. And just looking at these matchups in general, we've got the Death Rattle Hunter for Netherlands, the Token Druid for Poland, Odd Paladin for Netherlands, Control Priest for Poland. Like, there's some really nice matchups for Poland here. If I had to say who I think's the favourites, just looking at the matchups, I'd probably go with Poland.
Yeah, and I can't disagree with that, mainly because you've had more time to look at the matchups than me.
Haha! Who's the analyst now, Neil? Should we swap seats?
If you want.
Go on then.
No, let's do that later.
Okay, right, well. I was prepared to go all the way there, Neil. And you'll never hear me say that ever again. Right, first matchup is going to be Token Druid versus Aggro Mage. How do you feel about this one?
The Aggro Mage is going to shoot things at your face.
Mine?
Hopefully, but in general, at the Druid's face, the Druid does have some armor gain, but it isn't quick enough to get the job done a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think I learnt my lesson here last week.
Luna.
It wasn't the Token Druid that we were watching, but it was a Druid, and I was saying, hey, Druid just has too much armor gain. There is no way the Aggro Mage is going to get through. And then Luna plus Double Sorcerer's Apprentice plus the madness that followed was just insane in the membrane. But Token Druid is slightly different. Token Druid does have more aggressive aspects that can keep up with the Aggro Mage. As you can see, Whispering Woods, a fantastic way of potentially getting on the board, although Arcane Missiles, Cinder Storm, it does get scary.
This one is a turn or so quicker than the old version as well, with now you have, I assume, Chain Gangs are in here as well. Haven't actually seen the deck list yet, but have a quick look through.
Yeah.
And it does have a chain gang,
I know that
a floop, and a double strong shell. Oh, one strong shell.
I know that we're not crediting Tyler to this token Druid deck, but he definitely popularized it, certainly on my Twitter timeline anyway, and I know he was saying that him and even a few of his friends like Pavel played it at the end of last season and achieved top 25.
I mean, the second Tyler plays a deck, it's because the deck is good. And he doesn't like hide that fact. He'll always credit the builder, but he believes in playing the best 4 or 5 decks, and anything that looks like it might be good, he'll give a go. Which makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's a good way of approaching things, and that's why he gets these high legend finishes on ladder.
I mean, he plays so many hours a day and streams so many hours, which is really, really hard work, believe it or not, sitting there. It doesn't sound like it. It's hard to explain why streaming is tough, but you're constantly keeping an eye on so many different things that sometimes, unless building decks on stream is part of what you do, you just don't have the time to constantly build new decks.
Also, have you ever had anyone actually physically sit there and watch you for 2 hours, for 12 hours? Do you know how difficult that is? You have no privacy whatsoever. You want to scratch your nose, someone is going to clip that and say you picked it.
Yep, that's a good point.
Very difficult world, being in the public eye 24/7.
A Luneth, however, is something I'd definitely have picked if I had the chance.
Oh, yeah.
And going to be absolutely monstrous in this matchup because the Druid just can't heal that quickly to make up for the onslaught that would happen.
No, you kind of need to have Malfurion in play already, and that will be what Tyler is hoping for. He's got branching paths, which is one piece of the puzzle. Usually, if you can get double branching paths and Malfurion, you can get out of range of what the potential damage is for the mage. But the fact that a Mana Worm is already stuck on the board is just going to be generating a little bit of pressure here from Poland.
That's a research project in the deck.
Was it not discovered by the Primordial Glyph?
Must have been.
I believe
They've chosen to have a research project from the Glyph.
They have, which they were considering playing, and then they were like, oh wait, and we don't actually want to draw Netherlands through their deck because they'll find them more armor gain. Yeah.
It's always a bit awkward playing the projects. That's why I was surprised when I suddenly looked up and there's a research project just sitting there. And I have seen this in some of the big spell majors on ladder recently.
Research project? Yeah.
People feel that the urge to get to their removal is, if you give your opponent 2 cards and you blow them both up with one of the cards you draw, seems to be the philosophy, but I'm not convinced by it yet, to be honest.
But I think Tyler and the Netherlands will be pretty happy with what is going to follow. There is no way that this Stargazer Luna can be used to draw any extra cards this turn. But unfortunately, no way to answer it either from the Netherlands.
Yeah, you don't often see Luna played out this early just onto an empty board, risking the coin swipe just being the end of their game. Not quite, but you get the point.
I think it's a decent risk to take.
It's gonna be nice when it works out here.
Considering how bad their turn would have been otherwise. They just had no other option. It was just coin Arcane Missiles, which is just a bit plop, really, isn't it?
No target for the shooting star either. So they're not going to be able to dump most of this hand, depending obviously what they draw on the right-hand side.
Yeah, well, shooting star becomes irrelevant at this point.
I guess you research project for 0 and then just go lunatastic.
Yeah.
Lunatic.
You've got a Luneth, which is the highest card in your deck, so you're not worried about drawing that and then not being able to play anything. So everything should be of low cost at this point.
Archanologist is not the card you're looking for at the moment, but if you play it, you have to research project after. If you're going to research project after, you might as well... I guess you want to draw out the secret first.
Well, it's like... I don't even know if they want to play Research Project, which is the horrible thing. But why pick it if you're not going to play it? I know the other options weren't fantastic.
I think you play it, although you have got a Luneth. I think that the Druid just doesn't have the mana available, you don't say that very often, to really abuse the fact it's got so many cards right now. So do you Glyph or do you Archanologist is the question here. Archanologist develops your board, Glyph gives you more freebies. But at some point, you don't need more cards, you need stuff on the board. But playing into a Spreading Plague isn't ideal, so they're going to look like they're going to draw more burn and just hit people with what they've got.
More damage is definitely what you need against a Druid. Doesn't matter what Druid it is, that you know they have the potential to be armoring up. But for Netherlands, they haven't been able to ramp up because they were forced to use their hero power on turn 2. They weren't able to Wild Growth. And they've got this massive hand that you were talking about. And they lack mana.
They can fix that, but they're going to take a beating if they do. Just letting Luna sit around is not a recipe for good fun. And the other thing this is doing, it's saving... Okay, we talked about a Luneth. Poland don't really want to spend 6 mana on a Luneth. They're doing it with Luna, which is working out much better for them.
So you were saying it's not a recipe for good fun. What would be a recipe for good fun in your world, Lorinda?
If a Luneth was free to cast.
I mean... What if she was 0 mana?
If a Luneth, the weapon was 0 mana, yeah, you just put it on the table, draw 3 cards. That'd be fun.
Would it?
Be a good recipe for fun.
I'm not sure. That sounds like a recipe for disaster, Neil.
Disaster for my opponents, which is fun for me. Especially if theirs cost 6.
What to do?
You've become more evil as the weeks have gone on. I'm starting to...
I mean, I'm sitting with you and Falcone and Darek every single day.
Also,
what am I supposed to do?
In comparison, yes, you do look evil because we're all gleefully happy.
Let's go with that.
Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly what I mean, Dan. Whew.
So you can start drawing cards with a fireball if you wanted to, but Kirin Mage just works so nicely with a counterspell in hand.
I think he believed me.
We have many
And yeah, it is going to work beautifully with this counterspell. Despite the fact there's a coin there, doesn't matter, it stops the ultimate infestation, which is basically countering that spell. Seems like a good spell to counter. And the damage is accumulating pretty rapidly here.
It's going to start to arrive now. The lack of swipe and the lack of early, or even a spellstone, is really showing now for Tyler. Because he didn't have a way to deal with Luna. Luna was able to draw a few extra cards, and that board has been built up now that it's just so difficult to
Yeah, that's been converted into mana for next turn when a Luneth would have to be played, but instead they have all those cards to the right of a Luneth are basically the product of this Luna sticking around for so long. And do you want to gain 12 armor? Well, I'm going to hit you for 8 if you do, and just nullify your turn, and then throw things at your face as well.
The scary thing about Token Druid is their kind of reversal potential.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if there wasn't a counterspell down now, you would have the option of giggling, coin, giggling, and you have double branching pass to follow up, or maybe double Savage Roar branching pass, and you can just find lethal out of nowhere.
Yep.
And, well, with Floop, they can do double giggling. They don't even need to use the coin.
Is it any good? It's not. Is it any good? Is double giggling for 9 any good? Next question, sir.
I mean, they can only, in theory, from their board, remove 1, maybe 2 of these Anoyatrons if they use their hero power as well.
Arcane Missiles and Cinderstorm say differently, though.
Yes, of course.
Plus, there's a chance of picking up Sorcerer's Apprentice, something like that, to just make things even cheaper.
But at this point, Tyler's back is so firmly against the wall that he just needs to kind of hit and hope here with these Giggling Inventors.
So that's 9 damage to face available, but that's not enough. You've got to fire away here. Decide when to use this Shooting Star is the key to the turn.
Deciding when or where?
Both.
I kind of like it just on the 2-1 Giggling Inventor to clear off those.
I quite like bumping
shields.
out the 1-2. They've got no buffs. Having no buffs is kind of awkward, isn't it, actually?
As in spell damage buffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, an anomaly here would be
Amazing.
filthy.
So yeah, they're going to use it on the 2-1, which makes the most sense with no buffs. I'll give you that one.
Well, I don't want to start you on any statistics on Cinderstorm and Arcane
Don't
Missiles
do that.
anytime
We've
soon.
seen what happens.
But Poland know that they need to deal with as much of this board as possible because of that reversal potential. The burst damage can be insane from the Token Druid. And they've done pretty well.
They have, but now the Luna is going to finally reach the end. And a Frostbolt was an option there to draw another card.
Okay, game on.
Okay.
Game on indeed, because now this starts to get scary. Malfurion puts you back up to 17. You've got a coin to pop the counter spell. And then next turn, you've got double branching pass to gain another, what, 24 armor?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And your opponents have got 7 mana next turn, not the 10 that you have available. It's almost as if that's not fair. But it is fair because you have to invest a whole turn in which to gain that that mana, of course. It just doesn't feel fair. You forget the free turn you were given.
And this is always the turning point, and this is why I said Malfurion is so important. To find it in your first, what, 12 cards is really nice here.
Gigalaroo, they're going to branching paths, and they're going to set up the lethal.
Well, they're feeling safe. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
you're not dead from... There isn't a potential of a double fireball.
Yeah, who needs 24 armor when you can do 24 million damage? Nope. But it was exciting, that intake of breath. I needed it. And looking for all the world with +5 on each minion next turn.
What to do?
Like Tyler's going to get this done. And that is that reversal of which you spoke.
So maybe your best option is to Frostbolt off this 2-2 that doesn't have Death Rattle. And then hope for another fireball off the top. Because I believe if you just get rid of this 2-2, only 4 minions can't do the job, even with double branching and Power of the Wild.
That would be 29. No, it wouldn't. It'd be a lot less than that, like 26 or something. But your opponent can armor up for 1. So you'd have to...
So then you throw a ping to face as well?
Sure. That's horrendous looking, but you might be right. Things you can't expect them to have double branching past Power of the Wild in a fair world. But this play to me suggests they are going to Frostbolt off that 2-2.
Yeah, and the counterspell will... oh, I mean, the counterspell saves them anyway, doesn't it? So you're just looking at double branching now?
Sure. And
27.
they'll use the Power of the Wild to get countered. Yeah, 27, I make it 2, you'll be pleased to know. 20 plus 7. Break it down into the different areas of the battlefield. Damage from hand, damage from your minions, that sort of thing. And now Tyler has to make a bit of a decision. That Frostbolt to face last turn looked mighty suspicious. So as much as it's nice to hit your opponent for 27, something is afoot.
Yeah. But by playing aggressively in the previous turn, they now have the backup plan of getting a little bit defensive here with their Malfurion.
Yeah, and they're just splitting the difference here. They're getting, clearing up enough stuff that they can't die from the stuff, and getting enough damage into face that they have super duper lethal next turn.
And Arcane Missiles is not going to save Dogmeat here. And it looks like the Token Druid is going to find a victory against the Aggro Mage. That's why I said it's such a toss-up, even though that statistics would suggest Aggro Mage is somewhat slightly favoured. Even with the start that Dogmeat had, even with Luna sticking for how many turns? 3?
Yeah, 3 or 4. It didn't get that much. It did get a lot of card draw done, but Sorcerer's Apprentice never turned up, which is a big deal. Get the Sorcerer's Apprentice, then you can start really rifling through your deck so rapidly.
And I've got to give credit to the way that Tyler piloted this game as well, because naturally when I saw Malfurion, I'm thinking, play Malfurion, you've got all that armor gain, and to be fair, they probably would have won with that game plan as well. But why win stalling out and allowing your opponent to have potential outs with honor? I think they played both glyphs, but if they had another glyph, they might find like a Pyroblast. When you can get aggressive, build a wide board, and then have the backup plan of armor.
And that is why people are playing this newer version of the Token Druid, the believers at least. Because I don't think we've decided yet as a community whether it's good or bad. As in, really, really good or just really good. Because the Floop is so versatile in the deck. There's so many different bits and pieces it can do. It doesn't look like it's a lot, but it's just useful in every single time you use it. 0 mana Floop Tyrants. 4 mana Gigglings.
I mean, Strongshell Scavenger is also incredible in this deck. It's not going to be used here. It wasn't even needed in this game. But neither were the Violet Teachers that it has replaced.
Yeah, and I think that's the discussion over time, which one of those will be better. And I haven't played this version enough to know right now, but the pros are arguing about it, and that's always good fun.
I think versatility is key, and it would seem like this deck has that little bit more than the Violet Teacher one. Supposedly, but this is how metas develop. We get these few cards that come in, they change it, then suddenly the meta will change from other decks, and you go then back to the Violet Teacher, and it's just this nice little tango that happens. Don't know if this is a tango, Neil.
I don't know how tango works.
I'm presuming this is a tango.
That is now a tango.
It can be whatever I want it to be. I'm going to name it. All right, let's have a look at the matchup and see what's coming up next then. It's going to be Theo versus Tutek, and it is going to be Mage versus Warrior, and yes, it's going to be the Control Mage versus the Odd Warrior. So strap yourselves in, because we're in for a ride.
Gain 4. Gain 4. Gain 4.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
Not
saying...
game 4.
I was saying game 4. I was
Gaming
like,
4.
I thought
Tank
you were
up.
just going mental then. I was like,
Tank up.
no, it's game 2.
Tank up.
Tank up, followed by Ping Aru, followed by Jaina, and then probably the Control Mage winning. I think I have the Control Mage winning this one.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just going to take a little while.
It is going to take a while because the Control Mage doesn't really need to get aggressive at any point.
It hasn't really. I mean, what does he get aggressive with?
Yeah, so, but maybe it gets sped up by the odd warrior getting aggressive. But again, what does the odd warrior get aggressive with? It depends if there's Darius Crowley, etc. in the list. Like maybe there's a chance that the odd warrior can push some damage.
God, I feel that 6 damage.
I mean, it is scary if it's 6 damage every turn.
If only I had 27 AoE spells I wasn't using right now to clear it up with.
You are the kind of person that sees a glass as half full. No,
No,
half empty.
just empty, mate.
What do you see that as?
Half full.
Oh, okay. That is just empty, indeed. But yeah, this
Not
one
the answer I was supposed to give, obviously.
probably is going to be tough. All right, whilst we're waiting for these players to get ready, you know what time it is.
Fact time!
Back time
Dan.
with Dan. Would you like Netherlands or Poland?
I feel like we've had a lot of Netherlands ones. Let's have a Poland one.
Okay, so, I even spoke to production. Poland, also like Germany, they smash plates before their wedding.
Is that because they don't like the food?
No, no, it's because they want to get rid of the demons and make sure there's no
Okay,
bad
sure.
marriages.
Yeah, we did that one.
They also have an extra day after a wedding. So weddings are 2 days in Poland.
Okay. How does it...
So that must be more expensive.
We'll just break 2 lots of plates.
No, well, you don't have to break plates before the second day of the wedding.
Oh.
It's just before the first one.
So what do they do on the second day?
Celebration again. Probably like just more parties, basically.
Because it's hard to party without plates on day 1. So day 2, get the plates out, have a good old party, celebrate the wedding properly.
There's enough plates to go around, Neil, right? Imagine you smash old plates. Anyway, before I start smashing plates over Neil's head, let's get into game number 2. It's going to be the Odd Warrior. It's going to be the Control Mage. Does Azalina change this matchup whatsoever?
Yes.
Is there a world where you just keep Azalina here?
Apparently so.
I-
If your deck's not good enough,
I love it when that happens.
get the cards out. Where they...
When I'm trying to set you up for a question, they just answer the question for me before you can even answer.
That helps me so much as well, must be said. Of course, if they haven't got enough aggressive options themselves, the Mage sits around on a lot of cards for the entire game. Have some of those cards. Sure, go for it.
Is there Geist available for Theo and the Netherlands? That can often change things. That might be a consideration for Omega Assembly earlier.
It's Poland you're looking for.
Oh, I'm not.
No, you're looking for Netherlands.
Oh.
So that's where M is.
Ah, Mage. Yes, they have a Geist.
They have a guy, so we might see this Omega Assembly.
Oh, we've already
played.
seen it.
It's been played while we've been looking at the deck list. Fantastic news.
And Beryllium Nullifier is, of course, always the selection.
Yeah.
Because why, Neil?
'Cause it's good.
Oh,
It's hard for the Mages to kill.
it is.
And it becomes a bit of a threat, to be fair.
Yeah, if you can bait out those voodoo dolls early on, then there is no way of targeting that Beryllium Nullifier with your meteors or your polymorphs, any of the sort.
And Elise is one of the big reasons this game will go a long time. Because you're sitting there going, well, maybe my Elise gets me out of trouble.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. You're looking for that, like, extra... I mean, let's say... I mean, I'm just making up numbers here, but let's say that this is a 75% favoured match for the Control
Okay.
Mage. You're still looking for that 25% for the whole game as the
Mhm.
Warrior. Or you're hoping your opponent messes up. Maybe they use a voodoo doll on, I don't know, your Elise.
We have seen weird voodoo dolls happen.
Yeah, we have.
But Theo is I think one of the best grindy players out there in terms of really long games, not making mistakes.
I mean, again...
He streams for hours, playing really slow decks sometimes, and is always in top 25 legend whenever I see his stream.
Patience definitely helps when you have to play matchups like these. But you can see Poland, they're having this discussion, they're hovering over Azalina, and they're wondering, at what point does this actually come into play? Because realistically, look at their hand. When are they ever going to need a brawl?
So I think what they were doing there is hovering over the other cards like Elise and the Nullifier. So what do we need to play before we Azalina?
Yes.
Which of these things absolutely do we want to play first? And then they tank up.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They weren't on that turn wondering what they do this turn. They're thinking about future turns. Taking a little bit of time. When
You know what I fancy they're going to do next turn?
you reckon they're going to hit it again?
Yeah, I reckon they tank up.
Stonehill Defender is going to be put onto the board.
And the beatdown begins.
Yeah, you can now throw another one-attack minion on the board afterwards. I guess Gastropod does some form of job here, so it's probably the take.
Sure. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's a card that does something. The other two look pretty grim. I mean, maybe the Moggish can get in for one a turn for the entire game. Would that really make a difference? I'm not sure it would. We're going to find out. 23 turns of being hit by a 1/7.
It's funny you brought up patience as well for Theo in the Netherlands, because did you know, Neil?
Oh.
Yes, I'm using a fact already.
This is early.
Well, this one's not really a fact. This
Okay.
is more just of like a tradition thing. Like, in the Netherlands, typically they don't queue for things. Queuing isn't really a normal part of life in the Netherlands.
So how do you...
Oh, you hustle and you bustle.
Oh.
You barge and you shove. Have you ever been to the Netherlands?
Yes, but not for a long time.
See, try and get on a train in the Netherlands, and it's not a pleasant experience.
So, as an English person,
Yes.
I'm going to hate queuing because it doesn't exist.
Well, you don't queue, you bunch, and then you just move. I mean,
I'm terrifying me.
I'm sure there are many people from the Netherlands who have learnt the concept of queuing and also queue, but typically it's not really a thing.
Interesting. I still can't imagine a world of such chaos.
Well, we are British and we have to queue for everything. Even if there's a queue for nothing, I'm going to get in that queue anyway because I want to find out.
Somebody tried to push in front of me at the airport on the way here.
What did you do?
Well, I'm here.
Oh, and you don't want to know where he is.
Yeah, you don't want to ask the other guy. No, basically I wait till they use their phone and I just walk past them.
Clever. Distraction technique.
Yeah.
And
As you can tell,
yeah,
this game might go a while and we're digging ourselves in.
Poland might need a distraction technique of themselves if they are going to be able to actually find a victory here, because Netherlands are just going to churn away until they get closer to that Jaina. And also the Astromancer is something we haven't even spoke of being included in this deck. That is a little bit more value. There's a little bit more punch available for
I've been impressed with this card.
Have you?
It's been, yeah, the mage cards that make cards have been sort of borderline before, but this one, yeah, seems to make pretty decent stuff for 7 mana.
And against a deck like Odd Warrior, which is typically so slow, you are going to have the possibility of having a massive hand, so that these are going to be really big minions you put on the board.
They're feeling it already. It's
Who?
turn 5, the players, like, oh my goodness. I have 53 minutes more of this game. But it could be worse. At least you're through 6 turns, keep it up.
The thing is, I prefer this matchup to, let's say, an Odd Warrior Mirror.
I mean, I'd prefer a lot of things to an Odd.
You would rather eat Polish food for the rest of your life.
Wow, that's nasty, Dan. We're getting people shouting in our ears now and all sorts of things going on.
Well, when I actually did get out of my hotel room and went to try proper Polish food, it was delicious, I have to say.
That sounds good. Maybe I'll get out of my hotel room and find out soon.
This 5/5 on the board is something that Netherlands will be saying, well, I guess we don't want this to ever hit our face. Are these taunts enough to get in the way?
Because you don't want to waste a polymorph, because that is a water elemental at some point. I always make that point, but it's very true. Especially in a game like this where every water elemental will be vital.
Sick, a 5-mana Raven Familiar. Sick, mate.
Save that one.
Yeah, that's not really that great. Bright-Eyed Scout, I'm still unsure of, but I guess the positives outweigh the negatives for what you can draw, so I can understand its inclusion.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the card in this deck. It seems to be needlessly reckless. Like, okay, so you get an Astromancer on turn 5? Sure, great. But it is card draw, so a lot of your AoE is going to end up costing 5, which is obviously the point. But in the slower games, it doesn't really do anything, because you tend to only play 1 card a turn anyway. But, I mean, the chances of it hitting something good are very high.
Yeah.
But you have played a pretty subpar minion for that benefit. It's fun to watch these cards that some people play and some don't. See how they get on.
Yeah, again, I think it comes down to preference. And when you get a group of players like this, when you've got 4 players on a team, then you have to assume that everyone has pretty much agreed on what they like. I know there are some differences in several teams where people will be saying, well, I like this card, I don't like this card, yada, yada, yada.
I think if it's close as well, the teams that fancy they're the better teams, and Netherlands are definitely one of those, let's face it, it's the same team from last year who did very well. They would rather complicate things as much as possible. If it's like a 50-50 call, they like to take the complicated option and give themselves more things that could happen.
And now this Astromancer might change up the game plan from Poland.
Oh, it will now.
Yeah, that's not really going to do much except just summon a useless minion.
For now, but it's terrifying if you think your opponent's got Jaina in a couple of turns' time.
And, well, for Poland, I imagine, from the play last turn, they were thinking about playing Azalina either next turn or the turn after. Because you probably want to get it down before turn 9. You want to say, I want to try and have the best chances of taking Jaina.
I want to be Jaina 2.
Yeah.
Literally Jaina number 2.
And I feel like you do. The Water Elementals have just got so much value. You do have another turn to wait, so you could go for something like a Brawl here, and then you could Azalina next turn, because if they don't have Jaina in hand, well, you're never going to be able to steal it anyway unless they don't play it. But you have to imagine they will play it whenever they draw it.
They're definitely gearing up to it. We were talking about getting rid of the Elise and the Nullifier. Those things have since happened. And in that case, you might as well use your Brawl if you're not intending to have it for much longer.
I suppose you could Reckless Flurry instead for a more
just clear everything
guaranteed
up.
ball clear. Reckless Flurry, then throw a Ooze on the board, just so you've got something on the board.
Yeah. You can even play the shield block. You don't want to go one card through your deck, actually. No, you really don't. So yeah, an Ooze.
It's an interesting noise you just made.
That's me thinking.
Right. Is that... Am I hearing inside your brain now? Or
probably. I don't know.
So this way is this way allows you to keep the Nullifier alive, and yeah, as we said, play the Ooze, put it on the board, and then you need an answer from the Netherlands. It's not much of an answer. There's also not much of a threat.
I was going to say, or you need them not to have Jaina when you play Azalina, and then you're in real trouble. Because you turn all your useless gubbins into useless gubbins.
Yeah, I mean, Lich King would be nice if Lich King isn't played here.
Yeah,
Astromancer is also nice, but is it enough to win you the game?
It's a bit scary if Netherlands dump Lich King and then Poland go Azalina, and I think Netherlands will know that's an Azalina because it was the only card kept in the mulligan. So what else could it be? It could be Dr. Boom, I guess. But why wasn't Dr. Boom played last turn? Answer, because they had to clear the board first. So it's probably one of 2 cards. So play the Lich King, and then what does this Azalina do? It just copies all this stuff that no one cares about.
And a Lich King card, if the Lich King has been played.
Good point.
But...
And you take a beating for 1 turn.
Which is something you don't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, at some point at the end of this game, the health total will probably matter.
Weather fatigue will matter as well.
It's all about whether Poland can use these cards to cancel things out. There's quite a lot of AoE there.
Obliterate's not great, and well, that's going to change your plan as you
see
the wince on the face.
Just wanted to dump everything, and now they just can't unless they give up the pack. They've spent the last 3 turns planning this. Maybe longer, because we saw them hovering over cards 4 or 5 turns ago. Going into turn 3, I think it was. It's just a mess, because now they can't...
Their plan is they want to try and steal Jaina.
Yeah.
If they don't play it this turn, there is no way they can steal Jaina.
Ever.
Ever.
Because Jaina will be auto-played when it's picked up.
So it's now or never. Unfortunately, they will be greeted with the fact that Jaina's not in the hand.
And it is almost exactly 50-50 whether you have Jaina on 9 or not. Depending on mulligans.
Okay.
Basically, it's something like 48% if blah, blah, blah of things. And so... I remember doing that once because somebody was asking for the maths because they're having an argument with a friend and worked out it was basically 50-50. So they are going to take this because they can never get Jaina any other way. Losing their pack is a massive deal. And now they have a handful of really bad cards. But the difference is, Theo's deck is full of fairly good cards, whereas Tutek's deck is full of really bad cards for the matchup.
And the Lich King is going to survive and give another really good card to the Netherlands. You'd think.
Yeah. Not looking good for Poland in game number 2 here. Maybe the Astromancer, yeah, that's what they're hovering at. Maybe the Astromancer just gets something great. They wouldn't mind their own Yip.
Yeah, if they can get a Yip, that's great.
Because they can actually use the armor.
Yip.
They do get the good news, though, that there is no Jaina.
Yeah, which is, it's both good and bad news, isn't it?
Yes.
It's good news because it's like, oh, well, they're not going to play Jaina, and it's bad news because it's like, oh, we're not going to play Jaina.
I think that the mage can use the Jaina better, though. The way it can use the AoE spells to sort of set things to one. The warrior can't actually ping things to death to... Well, it can after Jaina, but it can't set up the pings as easily.
Yeah, just the one... Well, they've got a Blizzard and they have one Polymorph, but that's certainly not as many tools as the mage has.
Yeah, the mage just has everything, like Meteor can do the 3, obviously Flamesight does 4, Blizzard does 2. It has a good array of options available to it.
But there is still a chance that Jaina could just be the last card available for the Hey, you were telling me, what threats have they got? These are some threats.
If only I had a brawl about now.
Well, they do have tools to remove this board and install this board.
They know their opponent's hand.
This is true.
Azalina games are so interesting for that, where there's perfect information for a while.
It's amazing to see how Azalina's just suddenly thrown herself into the meta.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It's sort of...
Well, the reason why was the patch change, wasn't it? When
of course.
Now minions retain their values from... So it was... Initially, people were saying it counters Shudderwalk.
Because it's much better now. You can take a Raven Familiar that costs 5.
Exactly.
It's just what you want. But I think people then played it more and realised how good it was. And now it's basically in everything.
It just gives you, in these very unfavourable matchups, it gives you that extra... I don't know how many percent, but I'm going to say a few, just to throw a random number at you.
A few is a random number now, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it is equivalent of 3, which is another number.
I'm learning well here.
Someone's got to teach you.
3 is a number.
The magic number, some would say.
I think the magic number is less than 3. Now beginning the tank up process. Again, for the second time, having flurried it away. Recklessly the first time.
And Geist off the top. Poland, they were maybe hoping this Omega Assembly could have been played next turn, but...
Yeah, they knew there wasn't a Geist, so they could hang on to the Omega Assembly. And that is not going to be fun for them. Things just not working out at all nicely for them this time around.
And this was, on paper, the only unfavourable matchup in theory for Poland.
And they could be 2-0 down.
And they could be 2-0 down. But that means that even though they have a mountain to climb, it is a climbable mountain with the games 3 to 5.
I think most mountains are climbable.
Depends who's climbing it, I guess. Do you think you could climb most mountains, Lorinda?
I have climbed a mountain this year.
Have you?
Yes.
Casting with Falcone is not climbing a mountain, Lorinda.
No, I mean, things slightly less difficult than that.
I'm joking, Dan.
As we hear him leave.
Yeah. You guys can cast the last game alone.
No.
And there is a last game. If you're sat at home when you're thinking this is game number 5, this is it for the day, no, we have 6 games today. Because Chile are now playing today against Singapore. The game that was originally Thursday has been rescheduled to today for game number 6. So plenty of Hearthstone action for you guys.
Yeah, want to keep the viewers entertained. And it was going all so well until this game of Hearthstone. You got any more facts, Dan, or are you low on facts?
Oh, no, where's my page? I've got another Netherlands fact if you want it.
Let's go for another Netherlands fact while we're waiting for Poland to sort of get on with his turn.
On the first Monday of every month, at noon, an alarm screeches across the country as a test for emergencies.
Interesting.
My fear is, what happens if there's an actual emergency on that first Monday of each month?
I mean, that seems like a good time to create an emergency.
Don't give anyone any ideas.
I
don't know why that is, but I think it's just a choice of when to test alarms.
At least you then can work your shifts around it.
Because apparently there's no one reacts when they're in the Netherlands and they hear the alarm.
Yeah.
But imagine if you're a tourist or a foreigner, you'd just start panicking. I know I would.
I panic a lot anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sort of a panic individual. That's cool. That is actually probably the first fact you've ever told me that I thought was interesting.
I feel quite hurt by that statement.
You should be complimented, because I never expected to like any of them.
Okay, all right, I'll take a look.
No, you do a good job on the facts, Dan. Got to be nice for once.
Thank you.
Must be a warrior versus mage game or something. I'm feeling a bit weird.
And Deltek is only able to just, play a giggling inventor to try and survive a little bit longer, and he knows he can survive. As we know.
That's what Odd Warrior does. Put things in the way, gain 4. Put more things in the way, gain 4 more. Opponents play Jaina. You haven't got Elise anymore. The pack's gone.
And
so why are we here?
The reason that they're there is because if Jaina is the last card, they can still win on fatigue, potentially. Diurnal Hatchling is still there. That can shuffle another card back in. This Astromancer could give a big juicy minion that could start beating down the opponent. Like, there is a world where they could win on fatigue if Jaina is the last card, or close to the last card, I guess.
Yeah, and Theo's doing... I mean, he hasn't had much to consider, but doing a good job of looking after these polymorphs for the time being, too. Just so they can get both the water elementals and make sure things like Diurnal Hatchling can't help with this fatigue overly for Poland. Poland are actually behind on health right now as well, incredibly. What's that card?
Fury War Axe.
I bet no one's ever played that before.
No. 3 mana for a 3/2 weapon.
Ooh.
Doesn't sound that good, does it?
Unless you buff that.
Yeah.
Take a mana off. That'd be a good card.
That'd be a great card.
That'd only be alright. They look at this Astromancer longingly.
But they can get a better Astromancer.
Only if they don't play any cards for a while, though.
Do they need to play a card here? I guess killing the Arcane Artificer is probably worth something.
Here it comes. Maybe. Let go.
Give us something on the
My
board.
calculations are flawless.
Hey,
Yay,
that's not
that's
bad.
a good one.
That is something that can generate something else that can potentially win you this game.
You've been with me way too long, Dan. You're starting to talk absolute mumbo-jumbo, just like me. But yep, that is a decent turn. Obviously, the fact it can generate more things, is it really important in a deck with such low threats there?
There we go, game over. I mean, I'm kidding, of course, because actually this board is somewhat threatening first. Netherlands do have to consider removing it.
With polymorphs after they play Jaina.
Yeah, it's like this Bone Drake probably isn't going to die.
Yeah.
So then you can remove it afterwards. Maybe just you can take a little bit of damage, just kill off the Annoyatron with your Geist, play the Frostlich Jaina, and then
Yep.
follow
All
up
of those
next turn.
things seem good to me. Except for killing the Annoyatron with the Geist. I think I just let it live. Maybe they leave it there and you can shoot it and make a doofus.
My thought process was I just don't want anyway the Drake to die, but I guess...
No, you're right. You should trade it in. Because they might find a sneaky way to kill it off.
No, but I don't even know if there is a sneaky way to kill it off.
You could face tank it, I guess.
Obliterate?
It's not so sneaky. How do you sneakily obliterate something?
Can't argue that point, I'm afraid. Yeah, Netherlands are just saying this is a bit of a threatening board. We don't want to have anything to do with it.
And also, after you start making water elementals, you don't want to ever play the Fury again because you hurt your own board. So
Mali
they're ordering in order.
Goose.
Interesting.
No spell damage is going to matter. You can Reckless Flurry your whole board for an insane amount of damage.
So much flurryizing.
But I don't think anything else is really going to
Yeah, they didn't get a
matter.
damage Lich King card. That'd been quite entertaining too. But it is a 4/12.
What now?
I think that's one of the oft overlooked things about the Dragons. 4/12 is actually quite good.
It is. Although it can be met by such great things from the Mage. Polymorph, Meteor.
Yeah, the Meteor in particular. I think the polymorphs are designated for the hatchlings.
But there's no, like, pack available for
No.
Poland either anymore. So there's not even a chance of getting, like, what, Razor Petals? Can you get them from... I think you probably can, can't you?
You're asking somebody with memory like one of those things that leaks water.
I think there is a way. And where there's a will, there is a way.
Now you can have 2 4/12s, Dan. They should put Faceless Manipulator in Druid. That'd be good.
Yeah, they do. It's called Floop.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
What now?
What now indeed, Tatek? What now indeed? How are you going to get 33 points of damage through? Ever.
You're hoping that fatigue can do the job for you, but for that to happen, ideally, you need to remove everything off the board and not allow Netherlands to be able to ping and get any water elementals. That is the way you win. I was going to say only way then, but You can never say the only way, because there's always another way.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind. That's interesting. Best fact of the day.
There is always another way, Lorinda.
Okay. Take your word for that.
That is just a general motto for life.
And they're going to face us the hatchling because we were talking about polymorphing. You'll polymorph both of them if you want. Another one in the deck, and that is going to be the Fatigue War setup. Positioning nice as well.
And there is another brawl. Well, yeah, there is another brawl in hand. So there is a chance that Poland could go down that route. They start shuffling things back into the deck, and then they say, all right, let's try and keep this board as clear as possible. Let's try and play away from these pings.
Yeah, now this is why this game gets so utterly grueling, because every single turn, if you make one slip up, you give away a 3/6 minion, which is plenty enough to change the result of the game.
I must decide.
And of course, on the other side, every single turn, the Netherlands are trying to work out exactly what could go wrong. And what could go wrong is they could lose in fatigue. The hatchlings are going to generate bigger hatchlings.
Is now.
If you are just joining us and you're either waiting for your country to play or you're wondering whether your country already played today, we have already had 4 games of 6. We've had 3 elimination games already, and this one is an elimination game as well. Whoever loses is out. Norway took down Thailand, which had Thailand eliminated from the competition. Germany beat Indonesia. Indonesia were eliminated, and Hong Kong took down Sweden, which had Sweden taken out of the global games.
And I think you should do that again, because while you were doing that, Dr. Boom Mad Genius appeared to speed this up a bit.
Well, Dr. Boom does change things. It starts to give Poland this win condition. The other one I was talking about, Lorinda.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Is that a point where I zoned out completely?
Well, no, I said another one is available when you said, oh, is it?
Yeah, well, there it is.
That is it, because
You
what does
might get
Dr. Boom
delivery
do?
drones. Like last time we saw this matchup, it just kept getting really bad rolls.
Yeah, it was the United Kingdom, wasn't it? Who
Yeah,
were
they're
trying
doing
to...
1-1s and stuff.
Yeah.
What you need is delivery drones delivering drones every single turn. A bit like I delivered droney casts.
And it was the United Kingdom who played in the previous game as well. They took down Taiwan 3-2, putting themselves at 5-1.
Yeah, some fun decks in that one too, so worth a watch. But Norway, all these teams that we're not sure if they're going to get through, like Norway and Germany in particular, suddenly we find after 6 rounds of Swiss have made it to the top 16. Who knew?
Yeah, it will certainly be a big, deep sigh of relief for them.
Double elimination next stage, so those guys don't just get a sort of second life, they get a full reset basically.
And that's always a nice position to be in. Double elimination brackets are so much more comfortable for any Hearthstone player. And Swiss can be so unforgiving.
Yeah, if you get behind in the Swiss, it can be hard to catch up, to be fair.
Saying that, the United States, they went 0-2 to begin with, and now they're at 3-2. So they have a chance to still qualify for the top 16 despite such a poor start. What a story that would be. As these polymorphs have been used to stop this fatigue plan from Poland.
And that was saved for so long there from Theo, obviously delegating that damage right from the start of the game.
This looks like a nice possible Dr. Boom turn.
It does, doesn't it?
Clears the board off. And it's, what do you value here? Do you value 4 armor, or do you value potentially a mech or a zap?
They are pretty low on health. I'm just looking at this. Do you want to play it immediately? You need to play it soon, but would you like to sneakily gain a bit of armor first?
Well, you need to win. Dr. Boom also provides you with 7 instantly.
I mean, you do need to win, and to do that, you do need to get several turns of Dr. Boom's worldly goods.
You are asking for a lot, though. Dr. Boom isn't a particularly nice man.
I think he is.
Goblin
He's just off his face.
There you go, you got some armor. He is insane. You are completely correct.
Dr. Insane. And suddenly, the 1.4 armor per turn has just turned into 7. And now the game has just turned into nothing.
This works out okay for 2 tech here.
Yeah.
The delivery drone, the micro bots that he's got in hand can at least do something with these divine shields, and he can kill them off.
By the way, the hand is just now the hero power, because the hand is actually just not relevant to anything at the moment. There's Baku, and that's it.
This Dynamatic might come in handy next turn, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the microbots to clear off the divine shields, then kill off one of the... Well, take off 1 health of the Neutron, and then Dynamatic can be used potentially to clear off a water elemental, combined with something else, you'd hope.
Cool story.
Yeah. I'm stretching.
Yeah, we're
Really reaching for a hope for this warrior, Neil, and you're not helping me out. You got to help me.
I need help from Dr. Boom's hero powers. Armor and 1/1s is not the way forward for delivery drones.
I mean, armor's not bad.
It's okay. They needed a bit of armor, to be fair. There it is. Look at its smiley face.
Poland are praying.
Deliver some good drones.
Okay, what is a good drone? Mechathune is a good mech to get.
Oh,
That's a win condition.
that'd be fun.
That's another one. Remember.
Another nullifier, maybe?
Brilliant nullifier. We've not seen either voodoo dolls though, so it's not. It doesn't become as good.
Get it 3 times. They might, on a good day, get 2 more delivery drones. So, if they can get weight of numbers of good stuff, it doesn't just have to be 3 nullifiers, obviously. Just 3 really good things.
I mean, genuinely, if they were to get Mechathune here, like, there's been both polymorphs have been played. There is definitely a chance that Poland could stall out this game long enough to play all of their cards, have all of those cards die, and then just put Mechathune on the board.
Are you excited?
I will be if I see a Mechathune. Right now, no, because I'm just hypothetically speaking, Neil. There he is! I'm excited! It's on the board!
Wow, that's amazing. If you have no cards in your hand deck out of... it's just... Mechathune.
Mechathune indeed.
We nearly saw it go off. Mechanical Whelp.
Weaponized Pinata can give you
Mechathune.
value. Yeah. Alright, the string's still going.
We're still hanging in there. And we hope you're hanging in there too. Because the end of this will probably be pretty good.
I mean, there are some... I mean, I'm not going to say this isn't an exciting matchup, but it is a slow one. I'm not going to beat around the bush.
I mean, the first 20 turns are not particularly thrilling, right? It gets good about now when Dr. Boom's doing his thing, but you've got to balance the 3/6ers, got to brawl, so you can only use 1 mistake. This is where the game does kick into gear.
In games coming up, we have Death Rattle Hunter against the Token Druid, which is one of my favourite matchups to play. If I'm on the side of the Token Druid, of course, because that's who's...
Because you like winning, right?
Yeah.
This game where I win is one of my favourite things where I win.
But what else could we get? I say we. What else could Poland get from a legendary minion here that could really swing this matchup into their favour?
Oh, I remember the olden days where the answer was always just Yogg Saron.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
Bit like me.
Neither does Shudderwalk.
I just think Shudderwalk doesn't do a lot. There must be loads of really good ones. But I only know Lawwalker Cho. That's what I always get. That would make the game messy.
But all the meanwhile, putting these minions on the board is allowing...
There it is. It's pandering to expectations, turning up when least needed.
I need to know the odds of that actually happening. How many legendary minions are there?
70? I don't know.
I will put a shoe on Neil's head to prove that this is live. That is a great shout, Lorinda.
I mean, it's always Lawwalker Cho, right?
No?
What is it next then?
What do you mean?
I did it. No, it's your turn.
Well, they don't have another chance to generate a random legendary minion.
They might do.
Okay, well, they're going to get another Pinata from another delivery
Let's see
drone.
that, and then they get another Lawwalker Cho.
Okay, then.
Can this Lawwalker Cho actually be used for any benefit to Poland whatsoever?
Not
They
right
could
now.
Gain a Meteor?
Yeah.
A Flame Striketh?
There may be a situation later on where that becomes useful to gain something. Obviously, right now it's just a mess. Oh. Print is dead, Lawwalker Cho.
Now, because Poland do have Brawl still available, they do have removals of... They do have the ability to remove the board. They don't mind putting minions down. And This is good. They're getting delivery drone plenty.
Yeah, chance of getting that pinata.
Alex Draza's doing nothing though.
Yeah, she's just chilling for a bit.
Until maybe fatigue comes into play, and then you might heal yourself back up. But if you're ever getting to a point where you've probably chunked that much damage, you probably just die the next turn anyway.
Yeah, you probably take 16 points of fatigue next turn. It's always awkward. Orcs.
Sorry, what was that? Yeah.
Interesting how quickly Tutek took that Senjin. Don't think the other options were great, but you're quite happy with it.
No, his other options were terrible. Yeah.
Come on, drone, you can do this.
And that's pretty much probably the conversation between the Polish team right now.
Well, come on, drone,
Come on,
you
drone.
can do this.
You can get us through this.
So you're excited again about the prospects of another Mechathon attempt?
Do you want me to say yes?
I want you to be excited, Dan, yeah.
I will if they get
I'm
Mechathon.
excited already.
I was excited when I saw Lorwalker Cho, to be honest.
You were, actually. I had Dan in giggles earlier. I don't want to say, oh, with him. I
Gave
was
me a
happy
right
today.
giggle.
Oh. Explodinator? That's 6 damage.
Clockwork Automaton
Automaton.
could also be 6 damage with a zap.
Ah. And it's actually not dreadful. I mean, it's not good, but hey. Maybe they get a different hero power, one that does like 20 damage and double it to 40. It's called Razaka's Priest.
I miss Razaka's Priest.
You hated Razaka's Priest.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold your horses, Neil.
Okay, hold. I'm holding them.
I thoroughly enjoyed Razaka's Priest, I'll have you know.
Okay. I thought you hated it.
I hated playing against it, but
Oh, okay, you're one of those people.
just your everyday Hearthstone player, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Sunny side up. The bread's half full. Glass always lands on the bottom or something.
And Lorwalker Cho, it's his time to shine.
Yeah?
He could just be greeted by a voodoo doll if the
That's
Netherlands
fine.
want to get rid of it.
He's done his job if that
Yeah.
happens. It's a bit of a messy end.
But do you really care about
I
giving
must decide.
Poland a flame strike or a meteor?
So, in the sarcastic world where I live, do you care in this resources battle about giving your opponents more resources? Maybe. It's definitely a thing you could care about. I'm not saying it's hugely important, but again, this is a grind fest. If your opponents do want to flame strike this, you've got a chance to use a flame strike later to do a lot of damage.
But is it...
No, it's not. It's just not that great.
Because, like, I mean, voodoo doll, you are sacrificing it, and there might be beryllium nullifiers available for your opponent.
You don't voodoo doll it, but my point these days, as the voodoo doll comes out, this is terrifying. They're relying on getting no more important drones. Okay.
Yeah, you can just do this and kill it off.
Yeah, I'm still surprised they're that keen on getting rid of it.
It does still use the voodoo doll, though, yeah. But there's still one more.
There is, but there might be more delivery drones coming later.
Yeah, they've had 3 already. Are you counting?
I'm trying to, but I've only got it down as 2, so...
They've had 2 already.
But I'm sure I've missed 1 or 2 things.
No, I
2
think
armors, 2 lots of 1/1s, 2 lots of delivery
2
drones.
is correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Which is okay. I think they'd be pretty happy with that.
It is definitely above average, but they needed it to be. That's the problem, and they need more. Because one of them, you know, do you really want a llama bot in your life ever? I've just drawn on myself.
Yeah, I think... No, you're okay.
Okay, cool. Wouldn't want to do that live in front of people.
Llama bot... I mean, I've seen some pretty cool llama bot decks in my time.
I've seen a llama bot deck. I have lost on, like, turn 3 to Ysera, where you're
Yeah.
not having... Whatever the rest of your deck does, I don't want to know. You can take the win, sir.
I mean, in the Druid meta, could you get away with an llama bot deck? Probably not.
We just a llama bot Malygos into play and then just kill them the next turn. Kill them that turn.
Dare I dream?
Can we do that?
Plenty of minions to ping off to get more water elementals here.
Don't forget they've got the clockwork automaton.
What did I say? Automaton.
That's what you said.
Oh, automaton.
Yeah,
What is it?
automaton.
We'll agree to disagree, Lorinda.
Are you a geezer or a geyser sort of person? I mean, obviously you're a geezer, but how do you say it?
I actually say geyser, which I know is very wrong.
Okay.
But that's always how I pronounced it.
Okay.
Or gazer.
To rhyme with like laser?
Yes.
Okay.
It's. I have to admit, like that's been one of my
Time
downsides.
melts away.
Words?
Just no Hearthstone card pronunciations. I have different.
What was the Emperor called again?
I'm not even going to go down that route. That's so long ago now, Neil. How dare you?
Doesn't make it different.
Is now.
I was just a young boy.
I didn't know that Thorvisian wasn't a thing. Or whatever it
I
was.
mean, the worst part is I used to play World of Warcraft, or I still do, so I should have known his
Yeah.
actual name.
So the difference between geyser and geezer is the same as the difference between shaman and shaman. One is British and one is American,
So one is wrong and one is right.
depending where you live.
Yeah. Well, I have an American wife, so I have to have that argument every single blooming day.
Well, you can have it again later today because if you're watching, we've got to talk about geysers.
What was it? Oh, we had a discussion about it
Geezer.
yesterday. Insight, spelt with... Wait, was it insight?
Is it like ITE on the end or something?
No, it wasn't insight.
Sounds like you're casting.
Yeah. It was something. I'll think of it. It was something beginning with an E or an I, and Americans changed it to an I. And
But the weird
have it as an
thing
E.
is that Raven says shaman, which
Right.
is the British way of saying that word.
Yes,
But he says geezer,
because he is a geezer.
which is the American way of saying the word.
It's because he's a geezer.
Of course, he's a geezer.
Yeah, he's allowed to.
Okay, that answers that mystery.
Right, and back to Hearthstone.
So the
World.
automaton with the zap that we were talking about before we got distracted by Insight.
Probably not relevant now. I think maybe later. You don't want to be putting minions on the board that can just be so easily
Sure.
ping-a-rooed for free water elementals.
Yep. This one's very hard to pingaroo
Oh, it is indeed.
because of the magical 2 health number.
Armageddon again.
Oh, hang on, you want to do it?
No, you can do it. It's fine.
There we go. 3, bless you, armours, at least so far.
Yeah,
I have sort of lost track of it, to be
I'd
honest.
say statistically this is probably above average
There's
for
been-
Dr. Boom.
Way more on the number of turns I've got registered here. You've been distracting me
Decide.
by regaling me with tales of American English. It was totally me that started that conversation, but you know. Meanwhile, we're getting to the business end of this. 5 cards versus 4 cards, as you can see with the little circular numbers. Well, the numbers in the little circular holding places on the right-hand side. As Dan covers up my monitor with deck lists. And Theo hasn't been able to make a massive board, but he also hasn't been inclined to. Tutek's had this brawl in his hand
Time is
for the longest time. They played Azalina on turn 8. And the brawl's been there pretty much since then. I think they drew it like the turn after.
Yep.
The turn after that.
And I was just scouring my deck. My deck? Poland's deck.
Sounds painful.
To see if they could find another way to start putting more cards back in. They've already used Elise. The pack got thrown away when they played Azalina early on, but they do have this Direhorn hatchling now, which will put them ahead on fatigue firmly. I say firmly, it's not that firm. It's like 1 card advantage, but
It just depends how much damage they can avoid taking, though. Because it's not just about the fatigue, it's about the fact that they are going to take more of a beating than they can dish out.
well, you could go down the route here of Brawl Reno and then obliterate what survives. You are taking quite a lot.
And then how do you deal with Alana?
Is Alana available for the Netherlands?
Eventually.
Oh, Jesse.
Yeah.
Well, then you need Brawl.
Have they played both Astromancers, he says, dropping you straight under
Yes.
a bus of...
Yes.
Okay, thank you. More armour. And another zap. Just repeating the same 3 or 4 things out of 5. Which is one they haven't had. They haven't had the one that does 1 damage to everything yet, right?
No, they haven't. But yeah, Dragoncaller Alana still not found, and that is good reason for why Poland are keeping back this brawl. And the Poland are doing pretty well at keeping these these water elementals down to just a couple every single turn, and they haven't been taking that much damage.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. That's what I was trying to say a minute ago. I'm not sure which side is controlling these water elementals right now. I think the Netherlands are trying to keep it to 2 or 3. So they don't burn too much AoE so they can generate more later. and also the mind control tech, of course.
I think 2 mind control techs might be available for Poland in this deck, actually. Yeah, it is 2 available. So very well played from Theo and the rest of the Netherlands squad, just to make sure that they don't allow anything crazy to happen with these MCTs.
Both polymorph used up on the original version of this when they facelessed it, so going to have to kill it one way or another now, so no point mecking around, just get rid of it. Mecking around?
Meching around is what they need to do. They need to find some more significant mechs.
Hello.
They'll be counting the amount of threats, the amount of removal spells left in the Netherlands' hand as well. The Netherlands
and
deck
it's
in
sobbing.
general. Yes, and then realizing, oh wait, they can still remove everything.
But can they remove a Sleepy Dragon without... Well, I guess they just Meteor it.
There's another Voodoo Doll still available. There is a Meteor as well.
Yeah. And an Alana. They're not playing Syndragosa, are they? No, they're not. Thank you. Okay, that's fine now.
And Syndragosa, to be fair, in this matchup last week, when it was the United Kingdom going at it, it was Syndragosa that got the other team over the line. Because it was able to provide a Gruul, which was just something that...
And that was the one card extra. It was such a close match. Well, Dynamatic is finally going to have his moment in the sun. Blow up some water elementals. How do you blow water with bombs?
Well, they're water elementals. They're not just water.
I mean, they are now. But yeah, perhaps they weren't before.
No.
Are they like living water?
Yes, pretty much.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's quite scary.
Yeah, that does sound awkward.
There's Dragoncaller Alana. But
there's Vroll.
Well, the thing is, will Netherlands know what was thrown away when Azalina was played?
No.
So this game is just very difficult for them to try and maneuver. Because they don't know if Brawls are left, if Brawls aren't left. They don't know if the pack was burnt, wasn't burnt.
That's a really good point. I mean, they know that... No, they don't know much at all, because Poland were always going to do that on turn 8 anyway to try and steal the Jaina. The end is coming. We can assure you.
We promise.
It's a little way off, but it is definitely on the way.
But the thing is, like, I'm starting to gear up on my seat because this is when this matchup really comes to life.
Excuse me. Yes, it is indeed. And every piece of damage now is relevant. And it's not going to go deep into fatigue. Either somebody gets dominance on the board, or 3 or 4 turns into fatigue, somebody dies.
Okay, then.
Because nobody has a massive armor stash. And it could definitely come down to...
What is an arm mustache?
No, that's not what I meant. A stash of armor,
right?
You child.
Not an arm mustache. Okay.
No, that just sounds like particularly bad shaving experience. Well, there's a bad card.
And there's another delivery drone available for Poland.
Yeah, this is exciting times for Poland here. If they can get something half decent from this, something that can draw out one of those removal spells, and then survive 4 or 5 turns, maybe get a second drone.
I mean, not only is this game relatively slow because of just the nature of both of these decks.
Relative to what? A particularly tardy snail?
To a snail, yes. But it's made slower because this is an elimination game.
Yes.
Both of these teams want to play to every out, to every percentage, to try and give themselves the best chances to getting to the last 16. Because you've got to remember, the finals of HGG are being played at BlizzCon. And now, if you are a Blizzard fan in general, whether you are a player,
everybody wants to go
fan,
to BlizzCon.
caster, staff member, you want to go to BlizzCon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the highlight of the year every year.
And now finally Netherlands can play these Raven Familiars because they don't have any spells left in their deck.
Oh, shield block. You hate to see that.
There it is again, just in case you didn't notice it.
Still hate to see it. Well, what drone is going to be delivered? You could take the war gear and wait for later.
I mean, yeah, Wargear has the most punch.
Skaterbot. seen the golden skater bot before.
Okay then.
It looks like it's a skater bot that's crashed and is currently falling apart.
And it is one of Dr. Boom's things, so maybe it has.
Or is it like magnetized?
I think it's magnetized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's magnetic.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
We got him there. They've taken the skater bot.
Well, it stops the ping, so it works out quite nicely.
Yeah, I guess it kills a 3/6.
You saw how desperate Theo was, just pinging his own Raven Familiar, so
Yep.
makes sense.
I'm out of cards.
And we've made it. We have made it to fatigue. Game on.
And must point out, we've been in this situation before, and it always, to the casual eye, including my own, looks like the warrior is in front.
Yes.
And then you realise how hard it is to stop the onslaught of 3/6s. Every single time it feels like that.
Yep. It's exactly how I believe I had a conversation with Toast Monster after the United Kingdom fell in this game as the odd warrior, where there were a couple of turns that they felt they could have played better and maybe would have given them better chances, but they just didn't realise how many threats exactly they had to deal with. Especially if you consider that Poland did throw away a couple of their removal cards earlier on when they played Azalina as well.
So Poland are going to need a little bit of help from Dr. Boom.
I mean, the benefit that Poland have is they know exactly what cards are currently available for Netherlands in their hand.
Whereas the Netherlands don't
Netherlands
because of
do not.
Azalina earlier. And it was a large hand they threw away.
It was, yeah, 6 or 7 cards. And you could see Tutek was counting up there, and I would imagine they're counting how many pieces of removal Netherlands have left. And if they're counting correctly, that was the last one.
So they can't get rid of both of these.
I'm almost out of cards.
Well, they can use the Clockwork Automaton here to get rid of both minions.
Ooh.
If that's the whirly gig, which I think it is, on the hero power.
Would it still damage it? Double the damage? I guess it would.
How does double your hero power's damage get
Yeah.
worded?
I mean,
Hey,
because
hey.
naturally you'd think it would be direct damage, wouldn't you?
Okay.
So it's a bit different when it's AoE.
Naturally, I'd read the card.
Well, you can't read the card.
That's true.
It's hidden.
That is true.
So I couldn't even pronounce the name of the card, let alone remember what it actually did. Come on.
Imagine...
Neil, this game has been going on almost an hour. Give me
I was going to say, imagine being locked together for 7 weeks. This is just 1 hour. They're thinking about it, Dan. They gave us a chance to read the card. There you go. Double the damage your hero power. What's that thing in the circle?
Yeah, fair enough.
I got
This
one.
is,
After all this time, I got him on one.
I mean, even if it didn't, they could have still rushed
Yeah.
it in anyway.
I understand. It's fine.
Oh, another delivery drone.
Wow, that is massive. Yeah, Tutek readjusting his seat because probably because he's been sat in the same spot for 50 minutes, but also because this is now going to give him a chance to win.
I mean,
This is what didn't happen for the UK. They didn't get those
Exactly.
delivery drones.
and the difference is we've not seen a Gruul suddenly plopped into the hand for the Netherlands.
Time melts
Yeah,
away.
against the UK in that match, we keep talking about everything sort of went against them. But in this, Poland have definitely had decent stuff go their way, apart from the initial Azalina, where the nightmare, because the UK did get to open their pack. And Poland are not going to get to open their pack. Unless they get a pinata from the delivery drone, which turns into an Elise.
Definitely a possibility.
It definitely was. Mechathune!
It's happening! I mean, it's never going to get to the point where Mechathune is ever even played, by the way. So it's not even worth a consideration.
Don't spoil dreams.
You have to
But
play
you're right,
all- you have to play
You've
all
got
of
to
these
play your
cards.
shield blocks, which is just going to
Yeah.
kill you. But
I came
It's
to that
still a
reason-
10-10.
I got excited about it earlier, and yes, it is still
how
a
do they
10-10.
kill a 10-10?
Well,
Serious question.
yeah. They don't.
So you can take Mechathune, in theory, potentially,
Yes.
plop it onto the board next turn if the board's not too menacing, which it might be by then.
Uh-huh.
Because you're starting to need some armour.
Yeah.
Force the Alana to try and deal with it, and then just brawl it all away, and then you win. Of course, your opponents have no threats left. But they would rather gain some armour because they're about to die.
Yep.
Which, in fairness, does seem like a reasonable thing to say. These Dynamatics are just getting so much work done. Did he get the attacks in? He did. But that means there's a 4-1 on the board.
Yeah, and that's the hard part for how Poland have to maneuver the rest of this game, is they need to not allow easy pings.
How does Sleepy Dragon interact with what's going on here? Quite nicely, I think. What about the Mecha theme being excited, but Sleepy Dragon's pretty exciting too.
It would seem, at this glance, like the warrior is going to get there.
Tutek's just not sure, I think. He's going, well, this and this and this, and I don't know. Because Bright Eye Scout is drawing a card. It's not like you put the top card into your hand or anything. I don't think. It says the word draw, I can see it.
Does say draw.
That's more damage if you play that.
But what Poland need to worry about is they also need to start thinking about their health total. They're now probably not wanting any more delivery drones, Neil.
No,
want some
they
armor
want
gain.
armor. They've had quite a lot of armor as well. I stopped ticking at 3. I think they've had it 4 times, possibly even 5. Because they can't get the damage in quickly enough. So do you hide this behind your Sleepy Dragon and just start hitting away and hope?
Yeah, I'm looking at other options and none of them look particularly great aside from the Sleepy Dragon.
And then just win the brawl with your 3-3 versus Alana and her army of dragons.
Yeah, because if a 5-5 wins that brawl, then that's entirely still winnable for the Netherlands.
Yeah, because they just hit you for 5.
And you've got nada. Your health total is starting to tick away. And Netherlands are just ahead going into this fatigue game with their life total, even though they're not ahead on the fatigue. They have a little bit more time to work with.
For a master plan.
They could also just take a 50-50 right here, right now. Just go brawl.
No.
Okay. I don't think they should, but, you know,
Okay.
if they won that 50-50, they'd be in a good spot.
Well, no, they wouldn't, because then Alana would just be played.
Yeah?
Then you just lose.
If you're going to lose, go out in style.
All right.
So they finally get around to not going face there, which was the actual consideration. They get the zap. Great.
Zap isn't
Don't know why I
bad.
was so excited about that zap. It's good with brawl, I guess.
Yeah, it works out.
Which means that Theo will have to delay the Alana turn, most likely. One of the things I do like about how Dr. Boom was made is the fact your opponent does get to see what's going to happen to them next turn. When I first saw it, I thought, I don't care about the timing of the Dr. Boom, like next turn hero power. But now I've seen it played quite a bit. It's so important the opponent does get to react.
Oh, if it changed on your go, I think it would be better for Dr. Boom. It would make the
Very
card
much so.
even better. But now this is obviously going to be a brawl for Poland.
Some decisions to make, like do you want to mind control tech first?
Just to give yourself a better chance of winning.
Significantly better chance. Like instead of 1 in 7, you're talking 3 in 8. That's 14% versus 38% or something.
Mental dislocator.
Yeah, now you do it because you can also ping Alana with a zap after. Surprised Theo played it on this turn. But maybe he did the counting and thought he didn't have enough time.
This is scary if a dragon survives, though. Oh, but your dragon survives. That's not scary.
Wow.
That seems pretty...
I was waiting for one of the 5-5s to survive and you wouldn't know who it was.
Yeah,
It was.
Just that moment of truth.
Just
But they're
getting
still...
excited.
Oh, they got armor gain as well.
Oh my goodness.
That might just be enough. Because now there is nothing left for Theo. He cannot deal with this 4-9.
And looking around the studio, the lights are still on and production is still here. I think that might mean they're going to get it done. Wow.
Without the armor gain, if Poland had whiffed for a few turns, maybe there was still a chance. They just took 2 damage. They would take 3 next time. No, I still think that Poland would get there because Netherlands would be chunking too much. They just took 4. Next turn, they're 5, then 6. That's how fatigue works.
So how does Theo ever get another doofus, and how does Tutek prevent that?
So,
I feel like Tutek can just play MC Tech and Ethereum Rover soon as well.
if he flame strikes, he can take the Sleepy Dragon down to 5. Play Gluttonous Ooze.
Oh, you play a Tyrant,
Yeah.
and then Flame Strike.
And then Flame Strike and then Ping.
Yeah.
But is that going to be enough?
They just took 4?
Especially because the...
Indeed.
It was a long thought process for Theo. But that fatigue is starting to chunk up.
Yeah. And Theo's not taking that much damage yet. Don't say it's going to be another game where it just looks like it's going to happen.
I mean, it still very firmly looks like Poland because of this hero power.
Poland can trade into the 3-3 here.
To stop the flame strike?
Yeah, to stop the flame strike. Obviously, they don't get any damage in that turn. But I think they can then play... What do you play? Nothing? Maybe the Raven?
Okay.
This Tyrant is healing up as well for 4.
That's a good point.
But you have to kill it at some point.
You don't want to kill it now because Flame Strike Ping is just disaster for you, I think.
Yeah.
So you kill the 3-3 first just to stop any of that shenanigans, and it is really bad for you because that health gain. But nothing else really makes sense.
Just, yeah, gain some armor whilst you still can, and also not providing any sort of water elemental. Really like this.
And they get the doofus bots, just when they didn't really want them.
Doofus bots aren't great.
They're not.
But if you can, yeah, I mean, I was going to say if you can trade all 3 of them.
Yeah. How can this be so complicated? Half the cards don't do anything, and the other ones don't do much.
I mean, it's the only thing complicated about it is the fact that the Arcane Tyrant is going to be healing up ever so slightly, but the Netherlands are further into fatigue. They just took 5. Poland just took 3, so Poland take 4 next turn.
Time not so
There were
both
good
on-
and bad booms. Gaining 7 armor is a good boom. Delivery drones, possibly good.
But you know, Netherlands will be counting this up now, and if there is no way of winning, they would just be conceding. So they obviously think there is a potential slip-up that Poland could make.
I mean, right now they can still do a lot of things. They could
I must decide.
ping the Raven and trade in the 4-4.
Time.
Or ping the 4-6 and trade in the 4-4. Either or. And try and set up a water elemental for next turn.
But now they are just going down the route of,
We think we got
we
you.
think we have them on fatigue. We just hope that they don't get armor gain over the next couple of turns.
So they're taking 5 and 6 with the ping. They're dead in 2 turns, which means that... So next turn, Tutek takes 5. He finds out what his new hero power will be for the turn after. He can't use that hero power the turn after, because he takes 6 and dies.
This would be a good time for a master.
So
And
they
I think
just
that
lose.
means that the Netherlands will take this down.
Up now.
The lights are starting to flicker. This could be the first hour-long game of Hearthstone in the entire tournament.
I believe it is. I believe that this is a new record for longest game in global games this year. We are over 1 hour now, just for one single game of Hearthstone. That's how much it means to all of these players. But yeah, if your calculations are correct, I think you might be right, because Netherlands, they take 6 this next turn, then they take 7, but they're still alive at that point, so this is what Poland have to do. They have to just hope they can push damage.
Yeah, there's...
It's not going to be enough, though. Oh, with Zap.
Next turn they take 7 plus 3 plus 3, which is 13. But they have to get that kill on that turn, and I think that means the Netherlands have done it. Because he gets passed back to Tutek, who will take more than 6.
Shield block can't save him.
No, it really doesn't help.
And this is again when the warrior.
Every time.
We just think they're going to get there.
I think they would have won this one had it not been for the pack. But in fairness, they did get decent rolls to make up for the missed pack. They got several delivery drones and several armor ups. And still not going to quite get it done by the warrior. But you can see why this game gets played out and why it takes so long, because every decision throughout the whole game on every piece of damage makes it so close. It's always like this every time, this matchup. And from what we can see, the mage always comes out on top. Not always, but has a big advantage in coming out on top.
And if that wasn't a zap, if that was a gain 7 armor,
Yep.
then they would have won.
Yep.
Wow. What a game of Hearthstone that was. But it is the Netherlands who take the victory. And also a record for the longest Hearthstone game of the global games.
And what a game it was.
I mean, it was a very long game. Because both the decks, naturally, it's all about outvaluing your opponent right to the end game. But even then, we believed the Warrior had it. We thought they were going to get
Every time
there.
they trick us into believing
Even
the Warriors
with,
got it.
how many did they have? 4, 5 delivery drones in the end?
That sort of number, yeah. I did stop ticking at the end.
And they even had, like, what, 3 armors as well?
They had more than that. They had at least 4. I think it was 5.
So tough. It's heartbreaking if you are on the Warrior side. Heartbreaking for the Netherlands. They are now 2-0 down and they're 1 game away from being eliminated. Poland are 2-0 down and 1 game away from being eliminated from the global games. But we will see what happens in the rest of this series after this break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Global Games. It's Netherlands versus Poland. We just had the longest game of the global games so far this year. 1 minute. Sorry, no, it definitely wasn't 1 minute.
And all the others were 20 seconds.
It's made me mental. 1 hour and 3 minutes, I believe, was how long the game was in the end.
It felt about that.
A 63-minute game, Neil.
Some matches don't take that long.
That is insane. But it's done now. We've got through the long one, and now we've got some really exciting matches coming up for you guys. Next up is going to be Death Rattle Hunter versus Token Druid. As I said, and I alluded to before the break, one of my favourite matchups.
And why would it be one of your favourite matchups, and apart from the fact that you play the Druid side of it?
I feel like it's because the Druid can win in one of 2 ways, and also the Hunter has to try and work out how the Druid's going to play.
Okay.
So the Druid can go aggressive early on, play all your Wisps, double Savage Roar, easy peasy.
And we saw Ball Controller do exactly that a couple of weeks ago
Exactly.
for the UK.
Or it doesn't go to plan. Suddenly you're facing down loads of Devil Saws, loads of crazy eggs, loads of dinosaurs that are looking like they're going to finish you, and then you just play Spreading Plague, and then you Soul of the Forest, and then you win on turn 10.
Now, would you like to have this matchup whilst 2-0 down in an elimination match, though?
It's certainly not one for a nervous player, I would say, because you do have to keep your cool. You need to know when to just hold back some of those resources. Because you need to say, all right, we can take 24 damage this turn. I know we're on 30, but we know there's no way they can deal that extra 6.
Yep, and Davido is a pretty calm character. He's been doing pretty well this season across the board, and obviously he has A8 World Championship contender on his team. So they should be fine in terms of holding their nerve, but at 2-0 down, it's going to be tough.
And certainly in like a HDT format where it's just an individual player, after that loss, an hour-long game, and you lose it, that is not going to be great for how you're feeling in general. But when you can then switch the players, I'd say that is definitely a benefit of a team event in Hearthstone.
Yeah, very much so. A bit more fresh. Presumably, halfway through that game, they may have even told Davido, hey, go and have 10 minutes, come back, because you've got to drive the next game. Yeah, Whispering Woods available for Poland. Rexar available for Netherlands. The rest of the cards are kind of meh. I guess Nourish is always nice. Oh, okay, here's the ultimate first stage. Okay, it's all coming together now for the Druid.
And I think, I mean, you mentioned 2 of the important things, Whispering Woods and Rexar. If you play Whispering Woods before Rexar is able to destroy the board, then you might be able to get a Soul of the Forest down, and then suddenly things get very sticky for the Hunter.
Well, the minions get pretty sticky for the Druid because they stick to the board.
Oh, yeah, they do.
The Branching Path is interesting in this. You usually want to save it for the buffs, of course, but sometimes you want it for card draw. The deck does struggle a little bit for card draw, although we can see a way of drawing like 3 million cards in hand right now.
I have to say, I have found myself drawing with Nourish more than I find myself gaining mana with Nourish when playing Token Druid.
That is a thing that people say.
Slightly different when you've got an Ultimate Infestation in hand, of course. And this is the older variant of Token Druid. It has the Violet Teachers in, which has been a discussion we've been having all day.
Yeah.
Don't clap me, Neil. This is a very good discussion to be having.
So, as opposed to what?
As opposed to the Strong Shell Scavengers that have now been put in replacement of the Violet Teachers.
And which one do you prefer, Dan? A serious question. I'll ask you something serious for once, just to make you not hate me anymore.
I mean, I've played more of the Strong Shell Scavenger as of late, and I like it because it also has the Saronite Chain Gang, so it has a bit more flexibility with how you want to approach your game plan. But The Violet Teacher plus Spellstones always allows you to build up more boards. So I feel like it comes down to what you're playing against more.
One thing I don't like about this version is when you draw the Violet Teachers, then later on, when you're desperate for something to do, you go, oh, Oaken Summons. And you're like, oh.
It does nothing, yeah.
Why have I got this card in my deck? And so that can be a thing. And just going for the woods now. You've got Power of the Wild and Savage Roar in hand, so chance to buff them up way in advance of the Rexor turn. No defense available on this turn. And I'm interested to see where Poland go from here.
I mean, it's also interesting you brought up Oaken Summons. It's only one Oaken Summons that's being played in this Druid list as well.
I like that.
They're playing Scenarios.
They're playing double Power of the Wild then?
Yes.
Okay.
Power of the World. Just one Giggling Inventor as well.
Keep saying Giggling Inventor's slowly...
Well, it's slowly being pushed out of the meta by Blood Knights.
By the fact that everybody hates it with everything. Mossy Horrors, Grievous Bites.
Yep.
Whatever else they can get their hands on. Anything to deal with it.
And it's all well and good buffing this board, but is it worth it? Is the damage now important when you could just win with the same damage later on?
I mean, Branching Path stays buffed, so we can see the Giggling Inventor puts paid to that, but actually hitting them for 15 right now and saying you have to deal with, you have to have the Giggling Inventor or we win, or as good as win, is definitely a consideration.
Or you can Power of the Wild instead and just have the 2/2s on the board.
Yep.
Which will actually do better into a Giggling Inventor.
But it's much worse for your reload with a Violet Teacher later, which you might want to save it for.
Yeah. And that's why this is not such an easy turn for Poland. And they're actually going to opt for an in-between.
Savage Roar keeps one more minion on the board because they get to bump their face into the bomb if they want to. Protecting their measly little board ready for the buffs next turn. That works for me. And this basically says if you haven't got Giggling Inventor, we are going to kill you really soon. However, the Giggler is in the building.
Yeah, no real answer to Giggling Inventor either from Poland's side. I guess swipes wouldn't be too bad, but...
Power of the Wild's not a total disaster, but it isn't going to force anything through, of course. So, oh, that's nice though. Nourish for mana into Arcane Tyrant. Power of the Wild seems okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
And this is one of the problems I find when you play this Token Druid deck against Death Rattle Hunter in particular, is you feel like you should be on the aggressive side, so you want to use all these resources now, but you can just be patient. You don't have to be the aggressor. You can wait until later on.
Yeah, I feel without the soul, the early turn was interesting there. I mean, they have got through a lot of early damage, and they are continuing to be aggressive. Yeah, they're still threatening nasty things next turn.
On their side.
But Bumpety Rexar clears everything up, says what you're going to do. What are you going to do?
But even though, like, and once Rexar happens, you're like, ah, well, how on earth does this Token Druid get back into it? Again, get to turn 10, have Spreading Plague, have Soul of the Forest, then have Branching Path and a Savage Roar available, and you can still win the game.
Yeah.
But they have used one Savage Roar, so finding that second one is going to be more difficult.
I mean, something that hasn't happened after a turn 6 Rexar is nobody's hit you for anything. The Druid has just... It's restarting with a handicap health totals head start in a slightly unfavourable position, but it's got so much it can do. UI is such a great card. Time to clap me, I think.
There was a little bit of a probably discussion of, do we need to Rexar here? Could we use this Rexar at a more valuable point later to clear off, I don't know, minions that are plagued without a forest?
Yeah, because Hunter's Mark, Bump and a couple of trades here would have put them pretty safe and maybe allow them to play a Grizzly or something, but... Oh!
Now this is nice, because Whispering Woods, well, I mean, it's not nice right now, because you don't want to play Whispering Woods for just 4 minions, really. But Whispering Woods is a nice way to try and kind of bait out a little bit of Well, I try and absorb some damage from the Hunter, to be honest. Because you play the Whispering Woods aren't going to win you the game.
Like the Violet Teacher. Violet Teacher, Whispering Woods. She's going to stick around a lot of the time, then you lose to Hunter's Mark.
But again, this is where I'm saying you can be a bit more patient.
I want to kill him now!
Yeah, well...
Can I?
You feel like you should be the aggressive deck.
You really do. And I played this version quite a lot, in fairness, and something I did find was hanging on is amazing how much damage you can get through much, much later.
Although, on the flip side,
Yeah.
now that Rexar does have the hero power, you do have to be concerned about the beast that they can build. It can be pretty overwhelming very quickly.
And that's what they've decided. I don't think he's happy with it, but decided that the board can get wide so quick, not just with the Rexar, but with the play deads and stuff that we haven't yet seen. Because they must be scared that big things are coming very soon. Hunter's Mark puts pay to a lot of this. They've got a lot of outs from the top of their deck as well with this branching paths.
Yeah, you'd imagine that a Witchwood Grizzly is probably going to be put in the way of these 1/1s, which will soak up another buff.
Yeah.
But then it all just resets after turn 10. The game starts again, essentially.
After the Ultimate Infestation?
Yeah.
Sure. But also the Netherlands just haven't had the... They haven't had the best of the opening exchanges here, to be fair, in terms of their Death Rattle stuff. And when that starts to turn up in a minute, which it surely will, because the deck's full of it now.
And in a way, that might have been an advantage for the Netherlands. Because they didn't have that early start, it meant that Poland did play aggressively here.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they used too much resources. But Soul of the Forest does play very well into this branching paths. But again, are they using a little bit too much? Is there a Mossy Horror available for the Netherlands?
Well, they're going to trade into this and play the Soul, probably not in that order, because that would be really bad. And just threaten damage to face, because they have that UI maybe as a closer. And they are still asking the question, can you stop this? Oh, and there's the start of the answer of maybe. So Keleseth and Flanking Strike look like good things to do, therefore you roll first to see what you can get.
So you probably take a chicken.
Just because it's cheap?
Cheaper, and have a look at what else. Yeah, give you
It's
some
not a
more.
budgerigar.
It's not cheaping. I don't think you take anything else here.
You don't need stats, you need to be able to do stuff, right?
Hunting Mastiff isn't bad. That's 2 rush minions you can get.
3 next turn, if you're willing to wait a turn.
Yeah.
If they did take the chicken.
Yeah, that's if.
They could Flanking Strike this turn. Is that the Amalgam?
Yeah, they took the Amalgam in the end.
So they took that with the Penguin?
Yep.
3 mana Yeti, okay.
And now this is slightly scary.
It really is.
Just another Savage Roar would be enough.
Xenovius is a lot of damage. If you give them the buff, is that 13 and sets up Ultimate Infestation for next turn?
Yep.
Ooh. How many times have we said this in HCG 2018 about all they need now is to roll some lifesteal and clear the board? Yeah. And Rexar's done it so many times.
But this might be quite steep for Rexar, although Spider Bomb, Terror Scale...
It's the starting point.
Can that do anything? No, they need lifesteal as well, definitely.
Cave Hydra could be a way if they can get some charge or rush.
But there is no charge and rush there. Oh, it's...
There was no lifesteal anyway to get themselves above the 3. And Poland! Kind of the host nation, because that's where we're from and where production are from.
I don't know if we can call it. And also, we're not from Poland.
Are we not?
No. I know you've been here for like 6 weeks now. It feels like it. But yeah, we expected that. The token Druid is just pretty heavily favoured against the Death Rattle Hunter, and unfortunately for the Netherlands, they're not able to find a quick 3-0 victory. I say a quick 3-0 victory. Even if they had won, it wouldn't have been a quick 3-0 victory. But it does mean Poland are able to get on the board. And I did say Poland do have a chance to bring this series back to 3-2, just looking at these matchups.
So the next matchup's quite an interesting one because we have seen it go both ways and never really, in terms of feel, got a good feel for which deck is favoured. Obviously, look at stats, it's the Priest slightly, but the Odd Paladin versus the Mind Blast Priest, not just dependent on Dustbreaker, we're learning.
No, it isn't. I mean, Psychic Scream is very important. Even Northshire Cleric can be extremely important in this matchup, just taking down those 1/1s. But yeah, I would say this naturally is favoured for the Priest over the Paladin.
But we have seen Paladins really take their time with their resources, with their management, with their not just levelling up because they can, and making the Priest have to deal with things a little bit like the Token Druid, where they have to deal with things just because those things look scary.
Yeah, let's have a look through this Priest list. Nothing like a Harrison Jones like we have seen before. Omega Medic is a big card in this matchup because it can just heal you up later on if you have taken a chunk of damage. Holy Fire, pretty important. Skulking Geist can do stuff as well. And even Gluttonous Ooze can be pretty important.
Yep, on the other side, not a lot of unusual stuff. There's one Divine Favour, which we've seen swing games before. You don't have to use it for full hand size. Just getting 3 or 4 cards, keep the hate coming, can make it work sometimes. But other than that, you know the story. Press this button, get 2 dudes, press the button, get 2 dudes.
Get 2 dudes, yeah. See, I'm
got it.
I'm learning Lorinda speak. It's taken me 6 blooming weeks. But for the Priest, if they do whiff, let's say they missed their Pyromancer early on, they missed their Cleric, and they have a handful of Geist, Psychic Scream, Drake.
Yeah,
the Paladin just starts to chuckle. A deep belly laugh emits from Mitsuhide as Netherlands find themselves soaring through to the last 16.
Glad you said Mitsuhide there, because I went through the other 3 members of the team and just couldn't imagine any of them doing a deep belly laugh.
Deep belly laugh, no. I mean, Tice doesn't really have a deep belly laugh, does he?
No.
To be fair,
nor does Tyler, to be fair.
With my croaky voice right now, I could probably do a pretty good Tice laugh, but I'm not going to attempt it because I love Tice.
Tyler's kind of hench right now, by the way.
Tyler is kind of hench. Did you really
he's
just
been going to the gym a lot.
He's also been doing yoga, I see.
Has he?
He asked on Twitter, would anyone watch a yoga stream? So I ask you, Twitch chat, would you watch Lorinda do a yoga stream? Because I know I definitely would. Imagine. This is how we're going to become rich, Lorinda.
What, me doing yoga?
You yoga, I'm your manager, so I basically just tell you which positions.
And how do we make money out of a fat guy doing yoga?
Twitch subs. See? Master plan. Everyone in Twitch chat now is agreeing. There is definitely not loads of Dan's Game faces in there.
Definitely not.
With L, Dan's Game, Rinda followed. That's definitely something I've seen in chat a few times. I believe we are going to get into game number 4 now. I can see both of the players are teeing this one up. I know, I haven't hurt his feelings really because he's a lovely man. But game number 4, as I said, Odd Paladin versus Control Priest. Another chance for the Netherlands to qualify through to the last 16, we think. But Poland will be eliminated if they lose.
Just get my foot from behind my ear and I will give you some help. And Mitsuhide has that level up ability and the Fungomancer. It'll be interesting to see if they keep both of these. It seems a bit too slow. But with the Firefly, with the hero power, maybe they do.
I wonder if you keep Omega Medic as just a 3-4 as well. I know I was saying it was important later on to gain health, but...
The weird thing is, I wonder if that's too slow.
What, gaining
talking
health
about a 3-mana 3-4. No, just even a 3-mana 3-4 might be too slow. Like, you do nothing, they make a dude. You do nothing, they press the magic button. You make a 3-4. They go...
Yeah, the Acolyte of Pain is just better, isn't it? Because it's drawing you a card and
killing the same number of things. Yeah. And that's what they've decided to go with. And that is not the stuff they are looking for. An A8 3650 is definitely unimpressed with this, because now he hasn't even got a dragon should he pick up the Dustbreaker. Did
we work out why he's called A86350?
I think he won 2 best of 11s and remembered the scores that way.
Do you know a genuine reason or not?
It's a road in Scotland.
Are you giving me random facts?
So I've sat next to you for way too long.
Because I know Tom60229, it was his like student ID or something.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
I got that wrong then.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's like the serial number on his tablet.
Maybe. Maybe some
Maybe it's his pin number and he just couldn't remember it. It's like, ah.
I hope not. Wouldn't be very wise. All right, Pyromancer, that's starting to look a little bit better.
Actually, that's my legend rank.
I mean, you wish. You're not a legend this season.
How do you know? You haven't even got an NA account to check.
I do have an NA account, actually.
Okay.
It might be rank 25, but it's there.
But you haven't got me on there. Okay, so has to make the decision automatically already whether to save this Pyromancer to clear up the board later on, which makes the most sense, or even to challenge now.
I like saving it back.
Me too.
You have a couple of spells to go alongside it later. The board isn't that scary right now anyway. But it's going to get scary. Just look at this hand for Mitsuhide. Like, Fungalmancer I always like keeping when I have the coin. Level Up, I always like keeping when I have the coin. Corridor Creeper is, of course, going to get value at some point. I'm going to name every card, Lorinda, because Vine Cleaver is also disgusting.
Okay. You done?
Nah, Flame Elementals. Just amazing. A 1-mana 1/2. Whew.
So you've got off the purple cards now then?
But Void Ripper.
Corridor Creeper, yeah.
Although, I'm still going to stick to that. Purple cards are good. Corridor Creeper, Void Ripper, Shadow Visions, Mind Blast.
Okay, I mean...
Yeah, I think I'm onto something. I'm onto you, Blizzard. Your color coding with your card.
Purple cards are epic.
Well, I meant, like, the
I
color.
know what you meant.
All right.
I didn't like it, so I was trying to make it into something good.
Sorry, Dad.
But it wasn't possible to make it something good. This Void Ripper getting an early entrance to reduce the effectiveness of this Acolyte. And the beatdown is commencing, but Dustbreaker, can it help? Yes.
Oh, it can when it finds its brother. Yes, it can.
The Dusky Boys.
No, that's the wrong.
But that's where they came from.
Oh, right, okay. They came from Dustbreakers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And this is... You don't pass up this opportunity, do you?
You try to work out if you possibly can. Your opponent's not threatening to level up, so they're only threatening to hit you for 5 surplus damage on top of the 1/1 every turn. Say surplus because it's the 1/1 you're trying to blow up. So you definitely consider it, but nope. Deciding he couldn't pass it up for too long, clearing the board. And now the Netherlands are going to have some nice reload here. Not able to weapon it down at the Dustbreaker for now.
And the thing is, the traditional way of playing Hearthstone is once you've seen one copy of a card, you don't really play around the second.
Well, they can't use the second.
Well, no, not yet.
But yeah, you're right. You see the first, you don't play around the second. A little bit different with Dustbreaker in a way because you know there's at least one more dragon, but even so, absolutely correct. The chances of having both of something are just small enough that if you played around monsters under the bed for the whole game, you just wouldn't play any cards.
I must consider.
What? What's even funny about that? Huh?
What about playing around monsters under your bed?
Yeah. Like you'd never get out of bed.
Oh,
And then you wouldn't be able to play Hearthstone unless you played on mobile.
yeah, which is something you can do. You can also play on tablet as well now. Or a laptop. We live in the 21st century.
I wonder.
Do we? Yes.
All right. A8 looking to clear up as much of this as possible so that he can dominate the board for the rest of the game. One of the best ways to stop Paladin from proliferating its things everywhere is not just to use your AoE, is to actually just occupy the board and make sure that they you can use your minions for trading. I know this is all obvious.
I just thought you were naming desserts.
I don't even know what you're talking about this time.
Proliferating? Isn't that a dessert? Oh no, that's profiterole, sorry.
Do I look like somebody who knows a lot about desserts? Don't answer that question. As Dan tries to keep a straight face. It's always nice.
But you said Mitsuhide had good reload here. The Paladin always does have good reload, but typically their reload is usually just 1/1s and 1/2s and pesky little minions, but they're going to be gobbled up.
Yeah, they're really just buying time on this turn before they coin Vine Cleaver next turn and get rid of this absolutely terrifying Pyromancer. The Dustbreakers and Pyromancers being picked up have completely changed this game around. And Poland's definitely on the edge of getting this back to 2 apiece in this elimination match.
Well, this is exactly the matchup they would have wanted to get with their Control Priest. I mean, if you are on ladder and you are facing a lot of odd Paladins, Control Priest is a pretty good way to go. That's it.
Or make legend. But yeah.
You think a draw priest is a good way to make legend?
No, I think if you're playing a lot of paladins, just make legend and there won't be so many.
Yeah, it's true.
Then you can die to something else instead, even more horrendous.
You just face quest rogue all day instead.
You do.
And unfortunately, this Pyromancer gets out of range of this Vine Cleaver.
Yeah, how's this even happening? They can't finish it off.
They can just heal it up again with Divine Hymn.
It's pretty silly. Divine Hymn into Twilight Drake, just looking pretty lovely. And it's hard to see how the Netherlands can get back into this one. Poland will maybe even try and keep their own hand size pretty low here if they feel that the Netherlands can't get into it. I mean, Vine Cleaver generates minions incredibly quickly, so shouldn't be too flippant here. We have seen matches where the priest just cleared wave after wave of boards, looked like they were going to win, couldn't find a way to actually finish the game off, and died to like wave number 6 of minions. But from where we're sat right now, it does look like Poland should get this one done, take it to that decider.
Oh, it's because usually Pyromancer only clears 1, maybe 2 waves.
Yeah, not just all of them, right?
Every single wave that is thrown at them. And I was talking about how Fungal Mancer and Level Up, yeah, that's great in your starting hand.
Yeah.
It is when you have minions to actually play alongside it, but finally they're going to be able to get some value out of it.
It's taken a long time now. That Fungal Mancer could have just been anything else and done significantly better this game. Even Leroy would have killed off the Pyromancer that's caused him so much trouble. And it shouldn't be the Paladin that's trying to stabilise. When the Paladin's trying to stabilise, things are going really badly.
Now, what's the chances of getting 3 spells here? I guess it's pretty high. Shadow Visions is probably going to find something else. Yeah.
Yeah, another Shadow Visions, another shield.
Which is going to clear another board. This one Pyromancer is doing so much, and now Poland.
Is this lethal? It's one off, right?
Get on the. They get them on the aggressive. It's
Yeah,
not
something
quite
like
lethal because, of course, the Pyromancer kills itself. But it is so close.
Holy Fire in hand.
Holy fire.
And that's going to be 2 each.
Yep, I do not see a way that Mitsuhide is able to survive this. He can't heal himself up. And this is what happens. Odd Paladin, they struggle. I mean, it helps when you get the Duskbreaker early on, but I guess the MVP of this game has to be the Wild Pyromancer.
It does. Poland have actually got really good tiebreakers as well. So if they win this, we can, as safely as you can say they're through. We're not saying anyone's through guaranteed because tiebreakers can go funny.
Yep.
But Poland have extremely good tiebreakers. Netherlands, on the other hand, should they win, we'll have to wait and see before we make any declarations of qualification. They will be very close to. If you had to go one way or the other, you'd probably say they'd get through, but they're going to be watching every single match result very carefully.
Yeah, you've got to be careful because the tiebreakers, it gets a little bit scary. Is it Belarus who are on a bad tiebreaker as well?
Yeah, they're on 4-1.
Ooh, and they have a bad tiebreaker.
Yeah, so if they lose, they go to 4-2 with a bad tiebreaker, and then things could get messy for them later.
Scary times here in the Hearthstone Global Games, but we still have to finish the series, and we will do right after this. It's the Netherlands versus Poland, and it's 2-2. One of these teams gets through to 4 wins and has the chance to get to the last 16. But one of these teams will be eliminated after this game. And it's going to be Shaman versus Shaman, but it's not a Shaman mirror.
It's not indeed. It's the Netherlands on the Shudderwock and Poland on the even Shaman. And I think we've been talking about this. I think we've seen it a few times already this tournament. We feel the even Shaman's a decent-ish favourite depending on the early draws, of course.
Yeah, even though it should be favourite, we have seen the Shudderwock Shaman overturn the even Shaman because of things like Lightning Storm, like Volcano, for example. But you know what the even Shaman can do. If the even Shaman is able to just get that wide board and there's no answer, then suddenly they just win on turn 5 or 6.
Turn 1, press the button, off you go.
Yeah.
Game starts, Shudderwock's going, huh?
And I think
I
it
cost
was
9.
when even Shaman first existed. I think it was Amnesiac who brought it to a lineup. It might have been a playoffs or something like that.
I think he took it to DreamHack Austin, actually, where he won.
And he just said, I get a minion on turn 1 every single game. Why wouldn't I play this deck?
I think he took a lot of very stable decks that tournament, just outplayed everybody in the event. And this is a A bit more of a shooty version than usual as well.
Yeah.
Look at this hand. Talking of shooty.
By shooty, do you mean like elemental?
Yeah, you just shoot things with the elementals.
That you can. It
Deal
also
2
means
damage,
that
deal 2 damage, deal 3 damage. That's 7 damage. They haven't even started.
Kalimos is probably in there as well for Poland here. Yes, it is.
I mean, what do you change here? Do you just get rid of the fire early and keep the rest? Is the Phoenix too slow, maybe?
I feel like maybe the Phoenix is too slow because Phoenix is quite a reactive card, dealing 2 damage to a minion potentially. Are you going to be damaging minions? I guess there are minions from the Shadow Watch.
You want those corpse takers, really, but you don't have many 4-drops, so sometimes it's tempting to keep this just to fix your curve. Depending on how you want to use your coin, depending on how you want to use the Earthen Might, you always keep Earthen Might. It's just too ridiculous. Not always, but I'm going to keep it.
Oh, we saw the power of Even Shaman earlier on today with Earthen Might onto just a totem and what followed thereafter. That totem was a real nuisance.
Told you, Tyler, been working out.
Bit green though.
We have turned our
Yeah, the totem went for so much damage. Yeah, you're right in that earlier one. But yeah, going for as much early game as possible. We see Tyler there keeping as much removal as possible, even the Volcano, just so things can't get too out of hand, hopefully for them. Poland with a chance of reverse sweep to get themselves in that top 16. Jokes about production aside, we have had various people this year inform us that we should keep an eye on Poland.
Yes. Yes, we have. And quite rightly too.
what to do.
But mainly production.
There is little time.
I mean, they've done more than just remind us, Neil.
Oh, they have. Which one will it be? It's the one that isn't a snake.
Yeah, this is good, and I don't think Netherlands are going to mind just a little totem on the board. They'll know that Earthen Might is a possibility. But you can just wait patiently, totem up yourself if you would like. Of course, toteming up yourself does make your Volcano significantly worse, in theory.
Yeah, it makes your Shudderwock worse, although it never lasts that long. The totem, not the Shudderwock. And generally makes a bit of a mess on your board. But how do they expect to proceed here as the Netherlands? Obviously, they can get rid of the Earth Shot. They can use the Earth Shot, which would be massive on either the Flame Tongue Totem or the Earthen Might. The Volcano will be okay.
And that's definitely one of the totems they are okay with hitting, because it has to die.
Choices already as to how to develop here. The fact they've got 2 Flame Tongues in their hand might mean instead of playing the Earthen Might, they'll be tempted to play the Eel. Just so that next time they've got 2 minions of Flame Tongue. But are they in a hurry? I think they can just Earthen Might here and bump away.
Yeah, you want to save back your Flame Tongue totems when you can get full value. I feel like at least 2 minions on the board, make valuable trades with them, or even just push extra damage with them.
Yep.
There is little time.
So this way they're forcing the Flame Tongue as an option for next turn for 4 damage, even though they're missing out on damage this turn. And it happens to play around the Earthshock as well. It's not the first damage that's the problem with this Even Shaman, not like some aggro decks where you fly out and you do sort of 12 damage really quickly with your odd rogue and then can't finish the opponents off. You don't get that early damage quite often in this deck. If you can get a quick 16 in this deck, I think you can just get it done. There's enough pings and stuff to finish it off, assuming a normal match, obviously Healing Rain.
Yeah, I mean, it's that like, what, turn 5 or 6 and you have enough minions and you can drop a Sea Giant and then suddenly you've got an 8/8 whacking your opponent down. It's almost the opposite of how Even Lock works.
Yeah.
They drop Mountain Giants early and then their deck gets worse and your deck just ramps up into a Sea Giant instead.
Yeah, this is like a normal deck, whereas Even Lock is like some sort of
Backwards deck.
Lives its life backwards until it just goes out of the meta again. Corpse Taker must be supremely tempting with double Flame Tongue in hand. Do you want to use your coin? When your hand is so good, you could just roll a totem, play a Flame Tongue, and get on with your life.
You're certainly playing into Hex if you do play the Corpse Taker.
Yeah, you really are.
Because in terms of Hex targets, it is just what? Sea Giants. I suppose there is Lich Kings later on, but if you're getting to those late stages of the game, usually the Shudderwock Shaman should be in control by that point.
But of course, the longer you wait on the Corpse Taker, the less likely it is to have all of its abilities.
Yep.
Especially with that double flame tongue. It is so tempting. This is a tough turn, I feel. But they are just going to lob it out there and get on with the show.
Little time.
I think.
Well, they've used the coin now.
Yeah.
Late to go back.
And it needs a, if there isn't a hex, this game is kind of over. We can see there is. But it'd be 14 damage just from the corpse taker next turn if there wasn't. That's too much to pass up.
I mean, you could even just Earthshock it along with a Farsight now if you would like. If you want to save your Hex for... Because an Earthshock essentially just nullifies this card, whereas a Hex is more important on a bigger minion like a Sea Giant.
Sure.
You can't Earthshock a Sea Giant. I mean, you can.
And it'll say ouch.
It'll just... It wouldn't even say ouch. It will laugh at you and then hit you in the face for 8.
I don't know. Do sea giants laugh?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Just wondered.
Why wouldn't they laugh?
Because they're sea.
Sorry, what? Well, they're giants of the sea. They're not made of sea.
Oh.
They're not like water elementals, Neil.
They're not?
No, they are giants
From the sea.
from the sea.
So it should be called giant from sea.
Did you think mountain giants were made of mountain?
Yes.
I mean, I guess they kind of are,
Little time.
but they're not. They're just from the mountains.
And molten giants are made of malt.
They're leaving this corpse taker up.
That's interesting. And dangerous.
That is quite a bit of damage.
Yeah. And that's given Poland a bit of a headache because, not a bad headache, but a happy headache. Because they can just put 14 in there and threaten lethal. But it is only 14. This is a more balanced way of going about it. Keeping back another flame tongue. And the eel can just... Oh.
And it means that...
Do you even trade here or do you just hit them with the eel as well? That's what they're wondering. Sorry, it means something, you're saying. I talked straight over you without a care in the world.
I was saying it means that you can't go for Hex plus Healing Rain because of your mana. So you'd have to just Earthshock and Healing Rain just to probably stay alive. Or maybe Earthshock and Hex. Like Earthshock the Flame Tongue, Hex the Corpse Taker, but then Poland have done their job. That's what they wanted. They wanted to bait out one of these Hexes.
They're just going to lob it into the face. Smork.
Face is the place.
Dan, I don't know, what is that?
Sorry, what?
What was that hand motion?
Nothing.
Sure. I believe you. I'm so scared.
But okay, how do you get out of this if you're Tyler? Apart from
carefully.
So Healing Rain is, of course, very tempting, but you are leaving quite a lot on the board, even if you're Earthshocking down the Corpse Taker.
Yeah, it's made a bit of a mess.
Maybe it's just Volcano, and then you are scared of how much health you're on.
Got the healing room though to get back to 24. Oh! That's another corpse taker, Dan. It can be Hex this time though.
Oh, indeed.
And with that in mind, there is a chance to play the Chain Gang, which puts 3 minions out there, if you count the totem, just to back up this Flame Tongue. Because the Flame Tongue connects, it's 4 damage, however it does it with 2 minions.
And the thing is, like...
Tutek's feeling this now, because this is so close.
Yeah, it's why I was reluctant at first to say Volcano should be there. Because you want to save Volcano back just in case it's like a panic button, but I guess that was a panic button.
Right, yeah, they were going to die. That's a good time to panic.
Yeah, and like even though you could Healing Rain plus Earthshock, then you could still just die. Like there's still too much damage that you're facing, so it was you were forced to make that move if you were the Netherlands.
There is another issue here that the Netherlands may have. They haven't done anything yet regarding their win condition. Obviously they have to survive as long as possible, but because they are so low...
They're not, there's 4 of them.
Ouch. I wasn't expecting that. You wait until the end of the longest match of the day before dropping that on me, and it's not fair. I'm not accepting it. But yeah, because they have so little health, then they're going to have to be very careful, but the Healing Rain will take it out of range, will stabilise them considerably. And with no Sea Giants, Tutek won't be able to play Giants.
But now their removal has gone. So Healing Rain's great. I mean, Hex is very likely here onto this Corpse Taker. Or, sorry, very possible on this Corpse Taker if they would like.
And then they eat 4 immediately.
Yeah, then suddenly Flame Tongue Totem joins them.
There is little time.
But can they play on a second Flame Tongue? They've seen 2 Corpse Takers and 1 Flame Tongue already. And this time going for the mana conservative.
They are really confident with their life total here.
Yep, somebody's worked out they can't die or shouldn't die. Kalimos is so important, that can just be 6 straight to the face in a few minutes' time.
Yeah, and you're going to be probably playing that Fire Elemental on turn 7.
You are
that
indeed.
Will activate Kalimos on turn 8.
Go very wide this turn, and then turn 7, Fire Elemental the face, activating Kalimos. It is right on the edge here for Poland.
But surely Netherlands recognise now this Healing Rain has to happen.
Have they got the mana to really do anything alongside it, though? I mean, we've just talked
they've
about
got
9 damage over the next 2 turns. It only heals 12.
They do have a Lightning Storm for 0 mana. That has helped. That is one of the benefits of taking this a bit slower and playing the far side. Which one of these teams is going to be joining the rest of the eliminated teams from today? Thailand, Indonesia, Sweden, all taken down.
One of these will be joining that list of names in the eliminated stages. 2 weeks from today, we start the top 16, though. 4 groups of 4 teams, double elimination. Trying to find out who it is that ends up going to BlizzCon.
This Lightning Storm could whiff. Ah, well, it could off.
Yeah, but 2 Lightning Storms is overload of 4. Said Captain Obvious. I got it in before the clap this time.
But I mean, you can Healing Rain as well.
You can.
But then it's your answer afterwards to whatever comes onto the board. I guess Hex is there.
I mean, Kalimos, as well as doing the damage that we've been talking about, is still a minion that needs to be dealt with, and that's fine, except the Fire Elemental will also be dangerous the turn before. These bigger threats are going to be an issue here for the Netherlands. And if they overload by that much, how do they get back into it when they've only got 4 mana on turn 8? Okay, Hex is one answer. It's going to be really tight, and they haven't done anything yet regarding their win conditions. That's another problem here for Tyler.
I mean, they roll spell damage, so that's fine. That's how you play Shaman.
That is how you play Shaman. Roll spell damage, clear boards, and then Healing Rain. And Tutek, the roller coaster of emotion for him at the moment.
Well, I was going to say the backup plan was you roll the you roll a totem. Even if you miss, you have the possibility of both Lightning Storms. You don't play your Healing Rain, but at 5 health, there is no way. I don't think there's a way you can actually die. But in the end, it doesn't matter because they rolled the spell totem anyway.
They wouldn't have died, but I was feeling that the damage from the Fire Elemental, coupled with the damage from the Kalimos, coupled with the fact you've got to kill both those big things, would have been an issue. But rolling the spell damage has made things much more comfortable for Tyler. Still going to find a way to deal with these big minions. They're definitely not out of the woods yet, but they have entered the woods.
And when you go down to the woods today, Neil,
What happens then?
what do you think?
Don't know.
Oh.
Find some trees.
Have you never heard that nursery rhyme?
Yeah, I just like to put you on the spot.
Oh, okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
You're the fact man, not me.
That doesn't mean I know nursery rhymes.
Nursery rhymes are facts.
No, they're not, actually. Strictly, they're usually just make-believe
Well, did
stories.
you know?
Go on, then.
Ring of Roses.
I know why, yes.
Well, there you go. You see, you do know facts and nursery rhymes.
I know why that song exists.
Apparently that's an urban legend as well.
Yeah, we can't really tell, can we?
But back to this exciting match, which is going to decide who goes through. The Netherlands picking up that second Hex, giving them a way to deal with that second big minion. Looks like that could be enough to buy them the time they need.
But they need to buy themselves time.
They do,
Because,
urgently.
like you said, they've not played any chain gangs. They've not played any life drinkers. They have Grumble.
Great.
But the Shadow Walk is doing nada. It's just buffing up the rest of your minions.
But on the other side of this, Poland are running out of threats, and the Netherlands, I know this is a... Ooh. Just worry about the board that the Netherlands having. I was going to say it's a little board, but it's still handy for them. But what do you do with this Kalimos, and do you do it immediately? I think you have to do it immediately.
So you have a Fire Plume Phoenix, which means you can activate it again if you would like.
I wonder.
Dealing 3 damage to all minions. Looks okay.
That looks okay. It buys room for your Kalimos to hit face next turn. Except there's a Hex, but that's why I say the second Hex was so useful.
But on Poland's side, they just have to presume now. Second Hex isn't there.
6 damage to face is also kind of useful.
I wonder.
Potato Men, not so much.
But we were saying, if this game gets to turn 9, turn 10, it's when the Shuttlebox Shaman really starts to gain some steam. Hagatha is going to not only be able to potentially clear a bit of a board, but also give you that extra armor gain and that extra ability to gain some spells. They might be able to heal you up again.
I hate doing this for 3 damage, but I think that's the choice they'll make. It's just every time you have to do it, makes you wince, and they've just gone for it. Gone for the damage to face. They've seen one healing vein. Obviously Hagatha would heal for 5 if played, or give 5 armor. It's the same thing, really.
Probably not going to be played this turn. It looks like Netherlands were contemplating Lightning Storm, Earthshock, and then probably Keleseth to kill off the 7/7, save back the Hex, and take advantage of this this spell totem while they still can.
Still some damage available. There's double knife juggler in here somewhere, for instance. There's Alak here. Another Fire Ellie. There's still some bits and pieces coming along.
And I feel like that's why the decision was made to send that damage to face, because they know they do have draws to keep bursting out of hand.
And more overload for the Netherlands. Just doing everything they can to not die, obviously.
You've done a lot of blowing.
I'm doing a lot of huffing and puffing today. Playing this Fire Plume Phoenix, making an extra dude.
And where are you putting the damage for the Fire Plume Phoenix?
On the
Or is that
taunt totem, I think.
Not sending it face?
I've got the Doge and the Argent Commander for 5 to face next turn if I want it. Or even
So-
Fire Plume the 0-2 now, just play the dog, roll the hero power, you've got so much damage next turn.
Yeah, you've just seen both Lightning Storms, you've seen 1 Volcano. How much they overloaded for? Just 2, so they still can play Hagatha.
Yeah, that's a bit worrying. Tutek is just going through the ringer here.
And it is always the same situation when you are the aggro deck against the control deck and you are so close, or it feels like you're so close, but you're like, but what if they have X card? What if they have Y card?
I just got to this in time. They're going to play around Hagatha. They're going to Argent Commander this down, and this sets up lethal for next turn with the Direwolf and the Fire Plume Phoenix. It doesn't, because Hagatha would give them 5 armor, but this plays around things getting blown up if they have it, and sets up lethal if they haven't. I like this. I was just getting there, but didn't, because I'm not 4 people from Poland.
You did get there. You got there at a very similar time. Well done, Neil.
Thank you, Dan. And now the Hagatha gaining the health doesn't really affect the board as much as they would like.
I wonder.
No, it does not. So are you even thinking maybe Hex?
Hex. Is that it? That's your turn?
No, I think you can't pass up Hagatha.
You need some more spells.
All right,
my goodness.
that's more damage.
So I think you play the dog.
I feel like you're playing everything now.
Hearthstone, chess, underwater backgammon.
Great game.
Yeah. Everything all at once. 2 sec, that's 5 more. I know I'm stating the obvious, but it really is just a countdown
So-
at this point.
If you're going to be using one of these 2 minions, you're probably going to use the Fire Plume Phoenix, mainly because the eel can be used with Alakir, the eel can be used with an Elemental, whereas the Fire Plume Phoenix cannot be used with Alakir, for example. Use more mana now.
Use more mana now.
If you want to, save back the eel if you just are scared of another Volcano.
This is where you need 4 people to talk through every eventuality, because you've seen so much of your opponent's removal. Yeah, and he is going to just be mana efficient. In fact,
Nice.
who cares about mana
Jumping all.
efficiency? Have that volcano or give it up. It's your choice.
And at the moment, there is no volcano, but there is Electro Storm Surge. There is a way to generate some spells. There is a Chain Gang that can generate spells. What is Shudderwock doing at this point? Hagatha is what it's doing. It's killing everything off.
It's going to wipe out the board, but they have no Shudderwock anymore. Their win condition is beat you down with gubbins.
And now Poland just need 4 damage, so Alakia off the top would win them the game.
There's only one Argent Commander, that's
Oh,
gone.
they just got Healing Rain, no! Tyler was so close. Oh, Lich King, I thought it was going to be Alakia. But it's
You can
not.
hear production in the back having some sort of terrifying noises as well.
Because
It's so
productions
close.
know how close Poland are at the moment. But this Healing Rain found by Hagatha might just get Netherlands over the line. Might just get them closer to that top 16.
Oh my goodness.
And if my voice wasn't gone already, it's gonna be gone after this game.
I think it's gone already, Dan. It's okay. But I can hear you, and it's great. You're doing great, man. I vote that if I was Tyler this turn, I would play Healing Rain.
Consensus says yes, yeah, I agree.
Since Linda got one right. I can Electro Healing Rain, even more disgusting, actually.
Yep, this is looking pretty good if you are a fan of the Netherlands.
And now they get the Volcano. It doesn't just Healing Rains, it pours.
So, so it's not just ice fishing then.
Apparently
I
not.
thought it was just ice fishing.
That's for every other country, but the Netherlands disagree.
So it's great if you're a Netherlands fan, not so good if you are a Polish fan. Maybe Lich King can save you.
You've only got to do 28 damage with a Lich King and his juggly friend. Wow, that was so close. That must be absolute heartbreaking for Poland. That.
I mean, they were right there.
And we've
One
got to
draw.
credit Tyler, because he has had to order his removal in this game.
And he took that risk as well. He left
Yeah.
himself at 4 and said, well, they've got that one draw to potentially win. I think it was literally just Alakia.
Death and Decay appears with the appropriate totem, but not at the appropriate time.
I mean, you say not at the appropriate time, but
They've got to go
it
through.
keeps them in it.
Yeah, but they've got to kill them with a frog and a yellow stick. It's not the same as like all the fiery things.
Sea Giant is just too late as well. Although you have seen both hexes, but there's a volcano now for Tyler.
It's over, Dan. Let go.
I'm scared, Neil.
We're both scared, Dan.
Poland are about to be eliminated from the Hearthstone Global Games.
Where are we working next week?
I don't know. Do Netherlands have an office?
Probably,
Can they put
actually.
a broadcast on?
We could try.
And if you don't remove this board, Stormbringer is going to be absolutely filthy and really a perfect ending to this game.
Yeah, what can it set up that hurts? Like 6 of... I don't know.
Anything.
Is there anything that hurts
I mean-
yourself? Anything that could lose you the game?
Okay, well, yeah,
like you get
that's,
6 Thaunoses and you end up milling yourself to death by accident or something.
that's something worth considering. I don't think there's anything that could...
Would you risk your Hearthstone Global Games life on it?
It depends...
It is Tyler.
Would I like to show off?
Is Tyler.
Is a different question.
And that's what they're debating right now.
No, they're probably debating, do we have lethal? Volcanic... Sorry, the Voltic plus Grumble? It's not quite that they would have to get the Life Drinker back, which I don't think they would get the Life Drinker back.
Oh, because they can't make space with the Voltic either.
Yeah.
So they need to get... Yeah. Ugh. So you just attack with everything, then play the Stormbringer and hope one of the... There aren't that many legendary minions with charge, right? So...
So wait, you can zap the 0-2, play Grumble, but I can't remember when Life Drinker was played. I think Life Drinker was played too late, but you've got space, you've got... Yeah, you can do that, can't you?
Let's see.
18 damage on board, you zap the 0-2.
Well,
I don't know, maybe I was wrong,
This
but
has all the hallmarks of them finding something pretty good.
at this point, I'm not sure it matters.
I think that's the conclusion they came to. When the rope started burning, Tyler just started pressing things. And that is going to be that.
I think it already was that. But what a shame it is for Poland. They tried so hard, and in this series, they were 2-0 down as well. They clawed it back to 2-2. The reverse sweep was right there. They were 4 damage off lethal. They were 1 draw away from winning this series. But Tyler has manipulated his board, manipulated his hand well enough to save his healing, or, well, generate some healing helped. But he played around exactly everything.
And anticlimax now, whatever happens, Poland have got to see it out. And I feel pretty sorry for Tutek. I'm glad to see the Netherlands in with a chance of going through, but also got to feel for Poland. They have given this such a great effort. And as an underrated country, it would have been nice to see them do a little bit better, as we are forced to sit and watch another
Knife Juggler's
turn or two.
gonna drag this one out a little bit longer.
Also, there's no Shudderwock left in the Shudderwock deck.
Correct. So, like, there is very little things, but Hagatha, you'd have to imagine, should be able to just generate enough pressure. There is definitely reason for Tutek to keep playing. Like,
Yeah,
local
I'm
games
just
is
staring
on
at
the
this
line.
thinking, how does the Shudderwock actually finish this 9 damage off?
Well, I still think they might have had lethal last turn, by the way.
I'm not convinced you're wrong.
They had 18 on board.
There's a
They
lot
had
of...
zap.
felt like a lethal puzzle to me. They've got a chance to make 1/1s. They can do... If they can empty their hand of enough stuff, they can get a life drinker back with Grumble.
Yeah, I think... I have to presume they wouldn't have got the life drinker back because they didn't have room in their hand.
Right, and they couldn't kill minions on board because that takes damage away from the lethal
Exactly.
problem in the first place.
There were six minions on board. 6 of them would come... 5 of them would have come back. 1 would have got burned.
Sea Giant!
All right, game on, I guess.
How much have I just told about what a shame it is for Poland
I mean,
throughout this tournament? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it looked over. The spell damage roll with the Death and Decay has kept Poland ever so slightly in this.
There is still a volcano.
There is. But it doesn't kill this board. Well, it does actually.
Yeah, because you
But-
just
yeah.
do the Grumble thing.
And we do have to apologise. We did write this one off maybe a little bit prematurely, but wouldn't you? When you saw that board?
I wouldn't know. Oh yeah, I was one of the people sat here. Yeah,
But
yeah, I would.
with the life drinker off the top, that is going to be lethal available. That's how they're going to get the damage, Lorinda. Netherlands did get there in the end. There was a little bit of possibility. I heard the whole Polish team, they were just holding their breath throughout that entire series, but unfortunately, Poland are eliminated from the Hearthstone Global Games.
Good effort from Poland. They are still going to have a representative at the World Championships later, or early next year. So that's something to look forward to for Poland still. But the Netherlands, once again, have snuck through a Hearthstone Global Games thriller.
Yeah, but they put themselves at 4-2. Do they get themselves into the last 16, though? That is going to be the big question. Their tiebreaker is a bit iffy.
It is a bit iffy. It's not the worst. It's not even the second worst. But some of those teams could lose, which would be a big problem for them. So they need to sit and watch very carefully or excitedly, or just turn it off and find out what happens. Let's have a look how this one went down starting some time ago.
Yeah, it went all the way down to the wire. We started off with Netherlands taking a 2-0 lead, and we were thinking, well, maybe they might be able to get a 3-0 here, but Tice wasn't able to find a victory. Poland fought back, but heartbreak in the end in game number 5, where their even shaman just couldn't get there in the end.
Tyler had all the answers and sequenced them accordingly to sneak to that 3-2. In fairness, it looked like Poland might even take that warrior mage game, but it always looks like that.
It does always look like that. The Warrior got so close, in fact. I was convinced the Warrior was going to find that victory.
Yeah, even allowing for the fact that we're always convinced the warrior is going to win and it never does, I still thought it might get there this time.
But Theo, credit to that man, piloting it extremely successfully, counting fatigue. And speaking of Theo, I believe we have him on the line as well, so we can ask him for a question ourselves. Theo, I mean, you got there in the end, buddy. It was a hard-fought series. You have the record, by the way, for the longest Global Games game thus far. That must have been so difficult to play and keep focused for an entire hour.
Yeah, it was really difficult, that game. Like, we weren't sure what they, of course, threw away with the Azalina. So we were like, yeah, they got, like, the pack probably somewhere in the deck. So that's why also, like, late game, we were like, waiting with that Elena. So like we do it in a turn where they like have the pack, so they can't really play those cards. But in the end, they just threw away the pack.
They drew the pack on the turn when they set up the Azalina. They drew the pack the next turn.
Yeah.
So that was the mess they got into there.
It was a little bit of a mess, but I mean, it must be a relief for you guys. You get to 4-2. We're still a little bit iffy on tiebreakers, and I'm sure you are as well. But you must be fairly hopeful you're going to get it to the last 16 now.
Yeah, we hope so, but we know our tiebreakers are like somewhere in the bottom. So it's also going to depend if I think Bulgaria wins, because then I think there's only one team that doesn't go through. And then we're also hoping like Belgium and Canada win, because they all are below below our tiebreaker.
Yeah. Yes, you're going to have to sit and watch. You had that massive game, the same 4 of you last year against Brazil. What is it about you guys? And did you draw on that at all? Did anyone mention that match whilst this was going on?
I mentioned it when we got the Mogashan Warden, because that's also how we beat Brazil last time. The 1-7.
A famous card for multiple reasons.
Either way, it was an extremely entertaining series, Theo, and we thank you so much for joining us for an interview as well. Is there anything you'd like to say to like any fans of the Netherlands in general, or any of your fans that watch you on Twitch?
Yeah, thank you to every fan that supported us. Of course, we hope we'll be there next week again, but really appreciate everybody that supports us, like watches the stream, supports the Dutch team, and we all really appreciate everyone doing that.
All right, thank you so much, Theo. Best of luck with your tiebreakers, I guess, and maybe we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you, and hopefully see you next week.
Thank you. Take care.
They know how to have those close matches, and they know how to win them.
But it's not next week, is it?
It's not.
No, it's in 2 weeks.
It is in 2 weeks.
We have a week break.
Off for everyone to recover from that game of Hearthstone.
It was a long one. We broke records in this series of the global games, but we first of all started off with quite a fiery and spicy game where it was the aggro mage trying to take down this token druid, and in the end it was the token druid that found a victory despite the fact Luna was on the board for 3 turns.
Yeah, and looking how the series ended up finishing, I mean obviously every game's crucial, but this turnaround was absolutely crucial.
And again, who's piloting it? Tyler. I've got to say, he knew exactly when to hold back his cards, when to take risks, when not to take risks. I mean, this whole Netherlands team, I have to commend them because they played this series fantastically.
Yeah, and it's a good job they did, that every single game was so close.
Especially
particularly this one.
The record-breaking game. 1 hour and 3 minutes, that game was. But then we moved on to something a little bit quicker as the Token Druid went up against the Death Rattle Hunter. And it was the Token Druid that eventually found the damage and started to bring Poland back into this series.
Yeah, and then they got the next leg of it done as well with this Pyromancer that it just wouldn't ever go away.
The Pyromancer that was. What a legend that Pyromancer is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it would have been a bigger legend if Poland had got through. That would have been a Pyromancer that they would have talked about to their grandkids.
Yeah, broken plates and everything.
Yeah, it's just smashing plates all over the place, getting married to everyone, just celebrating in general. But
and Tutek's range of emotions in this match, including my range of emotions in this match, I hasten to add, just went through every single step. But in the end, unfortunately for Poland and their really strong team this time around, didn't quite get it done. Gave us a bit of a jump at the end when they had one last hurrah, but Hagatha and Electra just sorted that out in no time.
And it was so close for Poland, though. I mean, like, literally, Alakia would have won them the game. So they were 1 card away. What was it, a 1 in 13, 1 in 14 to draw Alakia? Crazy close. An incredible series of Hearthstone. But in the end, it is Netherlands who move on. And they will now just be hoping, they will be praying that their tiebreaker is going to be enough to take them through to the last 16. They're going to hope that 1 or 2 teams that manage to just mess everything up don't mess everything up. Because things get scary if they do.
Yeah, I think that's how messing things up tends to work.
It does get very scary.
But even though we said we were done, I don't think we're done yet.
Oh, no, we're not. Usually just the 5 games on a Tuesday, but today we have 6 games. And my voice is starting to go, but luckily I have the spriteful Falcone who's going to come in and join me to guide you guys through the last series. It's going to be Chile versus Singapore, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.